This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
This guy is sick. There's something wrong with this guy.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I love the way he says that. Jeffrey, what's the guy's name again? I don't know. I never met him. I don't know anything about him. Anybody says otherwise is total fake news. Some messages from last night. Dan says, "Evening, Nick. Isn't it great that the government has arrested a few immigrants? Does that mean that the country is now fixed?" Yes, it most certainly does. Thanks, Nige. You've saved us again. We were talking about newspaper headlines, and I read some, what's the word? Doozies last night, and a couple have been left over. This text says, "Best headline ever. Watch your step. Lauren Goodger narrowly avoids walking into a puddle during day out in Essex." That's the headline. Okay, couple of questions. Who's Lauren Goodger? That's my first question. And my second is, who's Lauren Goodger? I bet my glamorous assistant knows.
No.
We have no idea. He's saying, not a clue. But whoever it is needs to watch that puddle. Fortunately, they narrowly avoided it. This says, "Nick, I always liked watching Farmhouse Kitchen with Dorothy Slightholme when I was off school. I still make the lovely cakes from the recipe books. You're right about Graham Kerr and the creepy feeding a lady at the end." Well, of course, if you didn't hear yesterday's show, you'll have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But Graham, I wouldn't say it was creepy. I'd say it was a bit salacious, a bit naughty.
Disgusting.
Not quite disgusting, but, a little bit rude. The way, it was like practically a canoodle they were in. And it predated, what's her name? The lady with the big house in Eaton Square, where she, coos over food and, practically has an intimate personal moment knocking up a pudding. What's her name again?
Who, sorry?
The lady that I was just describing.
Oh, it's already gone out of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not listening. Not listening.
What?
Can you believe that? Steve in France says, "Hello, Nick. Graham Kerr's catchphrase used to be time for a quick slurp when he'd down a quick slurp of red wine.
Booze.
While he was cooking. Do you remember that?" Yes, Steve, I do. What I can't quite figure out is why I used to watch that programme, because it's not really something that I would have watched when I was at school. So maybe on days off sick, because there was precious little on during the day. It's not like today, where there's 86,000 different channels, all of which are 24 hours a day, just pumping out that stuff. Awful rubbish, all over your eyeballs. But then there was, it would have been cricket during the day, and cricket.
Boring.
So I wouldn't have been watching that, but so Graham Kerr may have been the only thing on. That's the only explanation I can find. Rob says you can't blame... Rob says you can't blame resident doctors for just wanting a piece of that £350 million a week action. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what that said on the side of that bus, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's like, what bus? While he was sitting on the bus, he was saying, what bus? Nobody that was ever on that bus or adjacent to it has any memory of it whatsoever. Oh, well, I just got rid of one that I haven't read yet. Nick from Wellington says, that is Wellington in New Zealand. He says, "My favourite headline has to be where there was a picture of a sheep being swallowed whole by a python, and the headline was, 'I've got you under my skin.'" What do you think, he says? I think that's pretty good. But it's not as good as the footballing one from last night, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to give it some thought, but it may be the best headline in history. Better than Gotcha, better than, although Gotcha was, pretty awful. Not something to celebrate, really. But better than Freddie Starr Ate My Hamster, or Corfu, What a Scorcher. It was the thing about Celtic. Leave it with me, and I'll try to remember it. Andrew in Derby, these are all messages from last night. Andrew in Derby says, Nick, you're having a shocker on birds tonight. A red kite is a bird of prey. You're spot on about starlings, though. They're just bullies. Is a red kite a bird of prey? Does it actually kill things, or does it wait till something is freshly dead and then eat it? Maybe a bit of both. Maybe it's ambidextrous. Lawrence in Croydon says, Nick, I joined Jeremy Corbyn's new party today. It could pull Keir to the left if they get enough members. What do you think? Well, I looked at his website today, and there is a statement at the front, and I'll read it to you, almost in full. One moment, please. Your call is important to us. That's what we say while not answering your call, because it's not important to us. Right, here's almost all of Jeremy Corbyn's statement about his new party. It's not one of them up all night having a parties. That's not him at all. A cup of cocoa and an early night seems more like his thing. Your party statement. And if they're going to go with your party, that is just absolutely awful. I think they're going to have to think it out again. He says, it's time for a new kind of political party, one that belongs to you. Me? The system is rigged. Correct, Amundo. He says the system is rigged when 4.5 million children live in poverty in the sixth richest country in the world. The system is rigged when giant corporations make a fortune from rising bills. The system is rigged when this government says there is no money for the poor, but billions for war. We cannot accept these injustices, and neither should you. We will only fix the crises in our society with a mass redistribution of wealth and power. That means taxing the very richest in our society. That means an NHS free of privatisation and bringing energy, water, rail and mail into public ownership. That means investing in a massive council house building programme. That means standing up to fossil fuel giants, putting their profits before our planet. Essentially, it means un-Thatcherising this country. Everything that I just read would be to reverse Thatcher. Can we go back in time and reverse Thatcher?
No.
No, apparently not. That's out of the question. He says, our movement is made up of people of all faiths and none. The great dividers want you to think that the problems in our society are caused by migrants or refugees. They're not. They're caused by an economic system that protects the interests of corporations and billionaires. It is ordinary people who create the wealth, and it is ordinary people who have the power to put it back where it belongs. Any complaints so far? He says it's time for a new kind of political party. One that is rooted in our communities, trade unions and social movements. One that builds power in all regions and nations. One that belongs to you. Sign up at yourparty.uk and be part of the founding process leading to an inaugural conference. Oh, a conference.
Boring.
Where's it going to be? It says, at this conference, you will decide the party's direction, the model of leadership, and the policies that are needed to transform society. This is how we can build a democratic movement and take on the rich and powerful and win. Real change is coming, he says. Well, that sounds super. Messages from last night. This says, we will have no doctors in the NHS if we don't pay them properly. The physician associates get paid more than a junior doctor. 3 exclamation marks. Pay our doctors. Yeah, that's actually true. A physician associate gets paid more than a junior doctor. And you know what a physician associate knows? No, neither do I. And, precious little, I would imagine, compared to what used to be called a junior doctor. They don't call them that no more because it sounds like they're a baby. It sounds like they're not quite on solid foods yet. No, now they're called resident doctors, like they live there. And that is an actual fact. Physician associates, whatever they are, I mean, it could be a vet, for crying out loud. Or it could be somebody who was walking past the doctor's office in the street. They said, do you know anything about medicine? He said, well, I've taken a lot of drugs. They said, great, you're hired. This says, Nick Abbot, not sure how you can classify Starmer as a populist when he's tried to cut benefit levels. He doesn't promise magic bullets, whereas Farage and Corbyn do. Well, I'm not sure I did classify Starmer as a populist. I think you might have got your wires crossed. And does Corbyn promise magic bullets? I'm not sure that's true either. Because from what I just read, it seems to be, a lot of hard graft. Ain't no magic bullets. This text says, Keith Floyd. Oh, yeah, we were talking about cooks last night. Can't quite remember why. It's my show. I've got no idea. Keith Floyd was a very watchable TV chef, noted for liking a drink or two. I remember an episode in which, a little tipsy, he closed out by remarking, "Look, I know I look like a mess, and I am a mess." We appreciate your honesty.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Keith, for, everything. And finally from last night, Daz says, "Hi, Nick, just wiped the dust off my Grand's Grundig music box and are playing old Mrs. Mills 45s through the fender." Well, that sounds great, Daz. You go on with your bad self. A Grundig music box. Is that like the piece of furniture that used to sit in the corner of the room, and you used to turn it on about 3 hours before you wanted to listen to the radio because it had to warm up? Hey, kids, we used to listen to a big thing called, oh, God, what did they used to call them? It wasn't a music box. It was a radiogram. Yeah, a radiogram. It was a piece of furniture, for crying out loud. It was about the size of a Volkswagen. And all it did was play the radio, unless you got a really, really big one, in which case it had a built-in super-secret record player and a slot to keep about 10 records. One of which would have been Mrs. Mills or James Last, something like that. Something a bit, late night and lascivious.
Disgusting.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yeah, so far, dear, it's been about old headlines and cooks that used to be on TV. Any questions? Dundee. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Yes, very well, thanks.
The headline I think you were thinking of a few minutes ago is Super Cali go ballistic, Celtic are atrocious.
Yes, that is it to a T. Super Cali, as in Caledonian Thistle.
That's the one.
Because they beat Celtic 3-1 in a final.
Something like that.
Something like that. Super Cali go ballistic, Celtic are atrocious. That is an impossible headline to beat. I don't think it can be done.
No, that really hit the headlines itself when that came out.
Yeah, it was a headline that made headlines. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent work, Paul. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Gary in Anglesey says, "I'm travelling down to Belsize Park for a hospital appointment next week, and I have 5 hours before returning home. Any tips on where to briefly visit in London while there?" Yes, Gary. Belsize Park is very, very near to Hampstead Heath. I would go from Belsize Park to Southend Green, which is a short walk from, I expect you'll be at the hospital I'm thinking of in Belsize Park. Short walk to Southend Green. Get yourself some nibbles and then go up to Parliament Hill and sit and enjoy yourself with a view over the entirety of London. You'll love it. There you are. There's a full and frank answer. Wanstead. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
So, hold on. I'm rinsing my top because...
You're doing what now?
Hold on. So, I'm rinsing my top because I met my friend for lunch and I got some of the falafel and the sauce on the top.
Oh, well, you ordered the wrong thing, didn't you? You ordered messy food to eat in a restaurant. You don't want to do that.
I'm a vegetarian. Maybe I should have worn a bib, but I will tell you...
You should order food that doesn't slop about. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've got something wrong with me, but I find it impossible to eat a meal without getting it all down my front. What is that about?
I know. I'm exactly the same, Nick. I'm exactly the same.
We are a disgrace, Sophie.
And so, but I will tell you an insider secret before I go on to my main topic.
Right. Well, I've got an insider secret too. But you go ahead. You show me yours, and then I'll show you mine.
So the thing that will take anything, any stain out of your clothes...
Fire.
And the top... No, the top I had on was pristine white.
Oh, no.
Yep, fairy liquid.
Fairy liquid?
Any washing up liquid, rub it on the item.
Yeah.
Leave it for a few minutes, rinse it.
Right.
So rub it on dry.
Yeah.
And it will take anything out of
Well,
Any
I would
stain
imagine it'd be
off
pretty
your-
good on any sort of fat-based stains, because that's its thing, isn't it? Very liquid. Other washing up liquids are available.
Of course.
I can't think
I
of
just-
what they're called right now, but, you know.
But so that's my insider secret. What's
Yeah.
yours, Nick?
My insider secret is don't order sloppy food in a restaurant, because you're just asking for it. I mean, if I ever wore a tie, for instance, then absolutely every morsel of food on my plate would be down the tie and none of it would be in me.
I know, and there are some people who can do it so elegantly.
I
I'm not
know,
like
yeah. How is that? I don't understand.
that. Exactly.
And I'll try my best. I'll be trying really hard not to, make an ass of myself. But I find it impossible because I think I overload a fork. I think I'm a bit too keen to, shovel it down me. Whereas other people will put like the tiniest morsel on a fork and they'll put it up to their lips and have a little bit of a chew. And it'll take them about 3 hours to get through their starter. Whereas I just wolf the entire thing down in one go, with the result that a good 30-40% of it ends up down my front.
That's what all men do, though. All men do that.
Well, that is the most
They eat
sexist
quicker.
thing I've ever heard in my life, Sophie.
No, because they're functional. Women have lunch and spend 10 hours talking over lunch.
Talking, yeah.
That's why we're so slow.
Right,
But
rabbit,
now
rabbit,
the main...
rabbit. Get Chaz and Dave on the phone. They'll
Yes.
sing it for us.
Exactly. The main topic.
That was the preamble. I see.
Yes,
Right.
the preface.
Mm-hmm.
So the main topic is, Nick, you're affecting my life.
Right. And, I ain't done nothing.
When I'm minding my own business in M&S in Wanstead, there are other shops available.
No, there aren't.
And no, I know that's the best one. But people keep on recognising my voice.
Do
They keep on recognizing. Yes.
Really?
And they say, yes. And the last man to recognise my voice, I was minding my own business, paying for my items.
Yeah.
And he said, we walked out together. Sorry, we didn't walk out together. He came to the...
When you say
the-
walk
the-
out together, do you mean that in a sort of World War II kind of way? And you, in 5 months, you'll be married? Is that what you mean? You walked out together.
No, that's true. That's how you say you're dating someone, isn't it? Back in the day.
That's
But
right.
no, he was at the door and he missed the closing time. But then I saw him in Tesco, the small Tesco on the high street. He obviously recognised me again. But we walked out together and he said, do you phone LBC? I said, yes. And he said, you're Sophie from Wanstead. I
Good
said, well,
grief.
yeah,
Uh-oh. I would redouble security, Sophie. In fact, I'd move. Just move straight away. Don't pack up your belongings. Just get out of the house.
I need to get a showbiz agent, Nick. I really do. And there was a lovely lady, I think her name was Lizzie or Lillian, again in M&S. She recognised my...
Really?
She said she agrees with everything I say, Nick.
I bet if you put a gun to her head, if her life depended on it, she wouldn't be able to remember a single solitary thing you've said. She was just buttering you up.
The other thing, you might be horrified by this.
I mean, after you met her, did you check that you still got your watch?
She was very nice. Everyone
Right,
in Wanstead is always very nice
I
and civilised.
seriously doubt that. Don't let
no,
your guard
honestly-
down for a moment.
Honestly, the other thing she said, you may not like this, you may or may not like this. She said, quote, we make a good double act.
Who, you and her?
No, you and I, when we...
Because, like I said, don't strike a conversation with anybody in Wandsworth, in Wanstead. What are you thinking of?
I need to be your producer, Nick.
Yeah. Well, I'll run that by. Well, you're not really my producer. He's my you want to be my glamorous assistant?
Yes,
I'm the producer.
I'm coming next Saturday, Nick.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll make other arrangements.
You're not the first man to say that.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Thanks for the bad news, Sophie.
Thank you.
Cheers, my dear. I am alarmed. That's only happened to me twice in my entire life. Somebody said, "Oh, you're that bloke off the radio." They said it like that as well. Only twice in my entire life has that happened to me. No, I'm not complaining or anything. You know, it's not something that I want to happen more often. Absolutely, no. It's just interesting that it happened to her twice already, and she occupies about 0.1% of this programme. I, on the other hand, all over it, like dinner, down my front. Josie says, "Hello, Nick. Must tell you this. I caught an old episode of Judge Judy today. The plaintiff was an elderly man, a lawyer. He was suing the defendant, a young woman who was a hairdresser, for $5,000 for cutting his hair too short." What? $5,000? After Judge Judy told him off for wasting judicial and court time, she did find in his favour and awarded him $10. In the after speech, the old chap said he hated Trump and the young woman really liked Trump, and that's why she cut his hair so short. I think this episode was in 2018. Dinglings were around even then, yeah. And there's just so much more of them. Although they're having a moment, aren't they, dinglings? They don't know which way to turn. They don't know which way to throw their ire. Because Donny promised them one thing, and then he took it away again. Chris in Woking says, "Nick, last night a lady rang about a dead dog called Courgette." What a lovely name for a dog. Poor thing. Courgette. I mean, if you look at it written down, it's just an odd-looking word, and it sounds odd too. I mean, can you imagine yourself standing in a park? Courgette! Anyway, it says, "We don't know what breed Courgette was, but can we assume he was a sausage dog because of the shape of that vegetable? Of course, the dog wasn't green, even though one of her new dogs is called Brown." Yeah, I think that person needs assistance in dog naming, because she got it all wrong. All wrong. Brown. I don't like brown. That was Harry Enfield, wasn't it? And the woman whose name I can never remember what her name is, but she was an integral part of that programme. "Oh, what do you want to get a brown one for?" "Don't like brown," she said of a car. Ian in Swaddlingcoat says, "Is it my imagination, or has Trumple-stained skin changed colour slightly over the past day or two? Instead of being a sort of tango colour, the great ochre joker now has a sort of iron brew hue to him. If he goes back to Glasgow, the rain may well turn him more streaky. Keep vigilant, we're all on his list," says Ian in Swaddlingcoat. Yeah, well, I have detailed files about all of that, don't you worry. Detailed files to come. I will be releasing the detailed files. Archie in Falkirk says, "Has Trump left yet? I don't want a SWAT team dragging me away for licking my own dinner plate." What does that mean? Licking my own dinner plate. What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
Sorry, Nick, just hold the line for...
Yes, I'm holding the line. My call is important to him. You believe that? He put me on hold on my own show. Not that I'm complaining about it, you understand?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Archie in Falkirk says, "Has Trump left yet? I don't want a SWAT team dragging me away for licking my own dinner plate." I don't understand. This text says, "Nothing interesting or exciting in this message, but could you please read it out anyway, as it gives me a buzz?" No. How many more of these have I got? Oh, my God. How can there be this many already? I haven't been on half an hour yet. This is like abuse. How do these people get my number? Marty says, "Hi, Nick. I'm proud of my fellow Scots who showed the orange blimp what we think of him, though I am disgusted that our First Minister agreed to meet him. He should have been snubbed." Yeah, the problem with Trump is, though, he's not like a normal human being. He will use America as a weapon. You have to think of him as a mob boss.
Absolutely.
He's not a normal human being, and he's absolutely, totally not a normal leader of a country. Ordinarily, most leaders of a country have some concern about their citizens. But Donald Trump has the tremendous advantage of not caring a jot. And it must be a constant source of amazement to him that his fans keep supporting him, regardless of what it is he does to them. But he's told them. He said to an audience of poorly educated people,
I love the poorly educated.
I love the poorly educated, he said, to them, and they cheered and whooped. Woo! I mean, I don't know how more clear he can be. But you can't snub him, because he will take it out on not you, but your country forever. So you have to debase yourself in front of him, unless you're like as powerful as China, and you don't mind any of the blowback. All China has to do is just sit and wait, and then eventually he'll crumble, whatever it is he's threatened China with lately. Because China know that they've got the upper hand. They, in fact, have, as Donald Trump used to before his casino went bust, all the cards.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, boys.
Alex texts, Vice President Maybelline recently said that people whose ancestors fought in the US Civil War have much more claim over America today than anybody else. Is he aware that his own base still supports the wrong side of that war, and that this discriminates against people such as his own wife, or is that the point? I think distraction is the point at this point. I think that you have to just assume that absolutely everything that comes out of the White House is intended to distract from you-know-who.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Jeffrey, what's his name? Epstein? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't really know. I'd never met him. Epstein? Yeah, him. Everything is a distraction at this point. Natasha says, you mean Nigella Lawson. Correctamundo. That's exactly who I mean. East Grinstead. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Nick. I'm also confessed to be somebody infected rather with your sounds.
Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, it's a mental condition that comes with listening to your show, I suppose.
Yes. Like that.
Exactly. So I thought, as a kind of I'm a member of the Labour Party, and I just thought that you perhaps ought to get some sounds on Keir Starmer, because to make him sound, slightly less boring.
Slightly less robotic.
Slightly less robotic. I mean, you could get, I don't know, Return of the Sausages. You could get, I don't know, his dad is a toolmaker, something like that, just to kind of jazz him up a bit.
I think he needs... I know this kind of goes against the grain a bit of wanting somebody real and honest, but I think he needs acting lessons, because he just can't put over a speech. Maybe if he was in a courtroom and his only audience was a judge, then it would be perfectly fine. But he just doesn't have it.
He just looks often very shifty, to say the least. And I think he wants to not say anything controversial, but in the process, he ends up kind of teasing
things that are controversial.
Nothing. Yeah, saying absolutely nothing whatsoever with kind of sound bites, which doesn't do kind of anyone any good.
Yeah.
So I just really want to. I know it's bad, even as a young person engaged in politics, but when I see him on the TV, I just want to turn it off.
Yes.
But which brings me on to last night, the lady that called up last night on Jeremy Corbyn.
Uh-huh.
And I think I called up partly because I think he was done quite dirty by her yesterday. I think she's falling into a lot of the kind of the binary politics.
Well, what is it that she said? Remind us, because I can't quite recall.
That Jeremy Corbyn's a populist, like Nigel Farage and Donald Trump.
Right, yeah. I don't buy that.
And he's in the same league as them.
Yeah,
I think if she wants to really understand, though, why he, first of all, unlike Trump and Farage, he has remained consistent, I'd say, throughout his political career.
Yeah.
He has kind of carried on with the same kind of values, which I think is what a lot of people who want to be energised really value, a kind of coherent moral case and a coherent. They want something to vote for, not something to vote against, and I don't think that should be too much to ask for, really.
Yeah, please, can I have some more? Yeah.
Please, could I have another political party?
But your party, that's surely not what it's going to be called. I mean, that is just a placeholder, right? But what will it be called?
I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, he was always bad. He was always quite bad at frontline politics, so I'm not his biggest fanboy. But I do admire him as a person and as an activist.
Yeah.
And
his ability to generate enthusiasm among the young, particularly. I mean, can you think of another politician that would get a crowd at Glastonbury singing "Whoa" and then insert name here? No, I can't at all.
No, I can't, and certainly it's not Strava. He's many things, but engaging isn't one of them.
Engaging isn't one of them. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I just listen, and if you listen to some of his speeches or some of his interviews, you just can't help but come out with the conclusion that I'm sure he has beliefs, and I'm sure he has something that he's going for, but you get the impression that his aim is he's going for making Britain slightly less bad than it was before.
Well, that's the option that is available to him. I mean, to really, because the state of the place left by the Tories, who spent 14 years smashing it up, cannot be improved significantly in a brief period of time. I mean, think of anything else. It takes longer to put something back together again than it takes to smash it up in the first place. So, I mean, he's not a wizard. And I think perhaps a period of being led by a boring functionary might actually do the nation some good. Because remember, we had this guy.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Which was a catastrophe. And then we had this woman.
Absolutely.
Which was a double catastrophe with cream on top.
Yeah. I think it was actually when I called up last under the Liz Truss fiasco. But anyway, I just think though that it helps. It will help people to be more. People will be more patient if you tell them what you're trying to do.
Yes.
And if you say, tell them what you're going to do. Tell them that you're doing it. Tell them that you've done it.
Tell them that you've done it. Yeah, that old journalism. It's what journalists should live their life by. Yeah. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them that you're telling them, and then tell them that you've told them. Yeah. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Cameron. Cheers. 0345 6060 973. Caroline in Dumfries says, I cannot believe you have just mentioned Farmhouse Kitchen with Dorothy Slightholme. I can even remember the theme tune, says Caroline. Fond memories of such days in the 1970s, along with the Lucasade in a glass bottle with crinkly plastic. Halcyon days. I've never heard of Farmhouse Kitchen or Dorothy Slightholme, so this is all new information to me. Educational, no?
No.
It says, Nick, did you see the golf buggies today? How ridiculous did they look? Yeah. Yeah, I thought golf was supposed to be exercise. Not the way he plays it. Not the way he plays it. It's an exercise in cheating. Andy in Selston says, everything Graham Kerr cooks seemed to need clarified butter. I've never known anyone else to use this even once. Well, I don't know nothing about food, and I'm certainly no chef, but I think clarified butter is a good thing because it has all the taste and the qualities of butter, but it doesn't burn. That's right, isn't it? I think you heat it up and then you take the liquid part off the top and you leave the... It's all about the curds and whey, baby. I have no idea what I'm talking about. 0345 6060 973. Manchester. Hello, Raj.
Hello there, Nick. How are you?
Yes, very well, thanks.
Good. Kathy Burke is the name that you're looking for.
Kathy Burke, yes, thanks.
No worries. So I've got something to run by you. So just hear me out, because I don't quite understand how this carbon zero thing works in the world, but let me just hear me out.
Uh-huh.
So basically, we kept this steel plant open, didn't we? You know, the one that the Chinese wanted to shut.
Yeah.
Didn't we? We kept it open. So essentially we need coal and coke and whatever we need to get that thing running, don't we?
Well,
yeah, so
I don't really know very much about the making of steel, but go on.
Oh, yeah, but we need to keep the furnaces on, don't we? So basically, we've got coal under the land, but we don't want to get it out because it's like carbon.
I thought that they were changing. I thought the whole point of it was that they were changing over to a more eco-friendly fuel system to make steel. Wasn't that it?
No, well, not at the moment anyway, because there's no way that'll cost an absolute fortune. That will to rebuild.
Well, I think that was part of the issue, wasn't it? That they, I didn't really pay very much attention because smelting steel is not really at the top of my to-do list.
That's not really the point in this.
Okay.
Well, we could use another example, but essentially, we've got that stuff under the ground, but we don't want to get it out. Just like we've got oil in the North Sea, we don't want to get it out with no more licenses because it's not good for the environment and it increases our carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
But we still need gas and we need coal, all these sort of things. So if we buy it instead, we buy it from Poland. So if we buy it from Poland, surely the carbon footprint in the world still goes up. All it is just our country just doesn't produce as much, but we just pass it on to somebody else. But instead of us having the jobs here, we just say to the pub, we buy all this stuff and get it shipped in.
Yeah, if only we had our own coal industry, then we could all those exciting jobs underground. You first, Raj.
Yeah, but the same thing applies for gas, oil and gas in the North Sea. It's still there, but we don't want to issue new licenses.
Yeah.
We still need it, so we'll just buy it from someone else who's still getting out of the ground.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point about trying to get us off of these fossil fuels.
And I get that, but we're not getting off it. We're just getting it from someone else.
No, that's the whole point. We are trying to extricate ourselves from the from this kind of prison
of having. For the planet, though, does it?
What doesn't?
Well, if we don't get that carbon, if we don't produce that carbon ourselves, and we're passing it on to Poland, well, it's still getting produced.
Yeah, but again, you're missing the part about us trying to get off fossil fuels.
Yes, but we still need it.
Until we get off fossil fuels. You can't just switch it from one fuel source to another. It is a gradual fade out of one and a fade in of the other.
Yes, but if we've got it in the ground, why don't we get it out of the ground ourselves instead of buying it from Poland?
Right, well, I don't know. There was some issue about the quality of coal that was required to heat that smelting plant. I don't really know.
No, that's okay. We can just use oil from the North Sea instead. The same principle applies. We still need it. This is in the ground, but we don't want to get it out of the ground because it can increase our footprint. So we'll just buy it from other countries, or we'll buy it from the Saudis.
Well, we do that anyway.
Exactly, but we got it there ourselves.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make any difference to the price.
Not the price. Not about the price. But it's still there, available. But we don't want to get it out ourselves. It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't change the world.
As far as okay, the it of it, Raj, is you don't want to change your life because.
No, I want to change my life. I've got an electric car.
You got an electric. Well, so what are you complaining about then?
I'm complaining about the fact that instead of us having jobs here, because we can get it coal out of the ground or the oil out of the sea, we're just...
Are you seriously saying that we should go back to having a coal industry in this country?
That's not what I'm saying. But if we need coal...
You just said jobs.
No, but if we need coal, and we've got coal under the ground, then we should get it out of our ground.
Well, I would rather not, because I know...
But we're getting it out of somebody else's ground. It's still making the world the same.
Well... The point of your call is not about making the world safe. Your point of your call is about benefits to this country, and I'm not sure. Hang on a minute. Wait. I'm not sure open coal mines dotting the landscape would be a benefit to the country.
But they've been there before. It's something that we need.
And how were they to look at?
It doesn't matter. But it's something that we need. It's something that we need, and it creates jobs.
Again, with the jobs, what kind of a job would you like to do, Raj, in the coal industry?
It doesn't matter whether I like to do it or not. If that was the job,
you want somebody else to do it.
I don't mind doing it. I'm too old to do it, but I don't mind.
Okay, well then present yourself to your local pit, and they'll give you an experience that will last a lifetime. I mean, around and around and around in circles. Is there any point in carrying on? I don't think so. He wants to go back to clean, beautiful coal. Yeah, let's open all the pits, and then we'll have to build more beds for people with emphysema, and we can all share a bath in front of the fire. That sounds great. Colin in St Helens says, Donny has been spouting on his visit to Scotland. No world leader has been more Scottish than him. The only food he eats is from the clan McDonald's, and when people see him in his kilt, they say, I have the best legs ever. And he plans to rename the Firth of Forth the Firth of 45th and 47th US president. And he's going to finish that terrible job done by crooked Hadrian and build a proper wall to keep the dark-looking immigrants out. Well, Colin, I think he's got it in a nutshell. Crooked Hadrian. Yeah. This says, red kites are of the carrion crow family. They eat dead stuff. They don't kill it. Yeah, that's what I thought. And they're absolutely massive. And if you haven't seen them round your way, then I think they occupy the Thames corridor, going west out of London, all the way to Reading and beyond. For some reason, they propagate round that manor, and they're just massive. I mean, they look like something out of a dinosaur film. And when they swoop down, because a thing my parents used to live there was they'd throw some old meat out onto the back garden and just wait, and it wouldn't take very long because they can spot it a mile away. And they swoop. They don't actually land. They just swoop in like a glider. Colossal things they are. Absolutely terrifying. But they won't kill you. They'll wait till you're dead, and then they'll eat you. So that's much better.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Amy says, hi Nick, a new name suggestion for the Donald. Tyrantosaurus Rex. Fits with his tiny hands. I saw him Brace yourself, Donny, you're not going to like this. It fits with his tiny hands. Tyrantosaurus Rex. I saw him waddling around attempting to play golf on the news earlier. It looked like a child's first go at crazy golf.
Don't be rude.
For somebody who plays that game so very much, he does look particularly bad at it. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any innate ability. I mean, his swing is terrible. I mean, even I can spot that. But, you know, if you've got a lot of your underlings running around after your ball and putting it in an advantageous position, regardless of where it fell, then, yeah, you're probably going to do well. Leicester, hello, Mark.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Mark.
Too much to say on Jeremy Corbyn and red kites. What shall I start with? Red.
Well, start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
Okay. Red kites, they're not in the carrion crow family. They are technically a bird of prey. But
do they kill anything, though? Or do they just wait till it's really, really sick?
They usually wait till things are dead.
Right.
But, yeah, but they also sometimes opportunistically hunt small mammals and things if they're around.
Have you seen one on the wing?
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, because here they were reintroduced, because when I was back in the 80s, there was none in England. They were extinct. They were only in Wales. And then sort of mid-90s, I was driving around the Midlands and I saw this great big thing. I thought, I'm sure that's a red kite, but
it's about the size of a flying carpet.
Yeah, 6'4" wingspan they can go up to.
It's apparently absolutely incredible that they can get that big on just the tiny morsels they eat.
I know. And guess what they like to hunt as well?
People?
Earthworms.
Oh, earthworms?
That's one of the main things they eat, apparently.
You're kidding.
On the ground, no.
A bird with a 6-foot wingspan eats worms. I find that hard to believe.
No, it's true. I think they just eat the worms when they're, eating a dead rabbit or something, and they see a worm.
Right. So,
yeah,
pudding.
So, yeah, dessert. Yeah, and on Jeremy Corbyn. I was shouting at the radio yesterday. I think it was Claire from York who saying he was a cult leader with cultist followers and stuff. It's just like guy who's just a mild-mannered. In many European countries, a mild-mannered social democrat. Basically, he's not even that left-wing, to be honest. He's just, But the idea that he's some kind of dangerous on a level with Trump.
Oh no, it's just that's a silly thing to think.
And I think the key word is, somebody mentioned it earlier, I think it was Cameron, consistency. He's always been consistent, but he's also always been authentic. He is authentic in how he comes across, and I think that's Starmer's biggest failing, really. Yeah,
I would agree with all of that.
Yeah,
but he's sort of. He's been the right-wing press levelled their cannons at him and blasted away the moment he said he was going to look into the ownership of a lot of newspapers in the hands of a very few number of people. And from that moment on, they just blasted at him even Meghan Markle wasn't assailed quite so very much as Uncle Jezza was. And so I think whatever happens from now on, he's still got that with a certain age demographic who sort of lived through that and was subject to that propaganda. I think that there'll be a certain mark against his name, but the kids didn't live through that. They don't read those newspapers, so they weren't their minds weren't infected by that.
That's true, but I think he maintains a popularity because of his consistency, really. And people just see through that rubbish from the right-wing press. And I think
Bernie, sorry to interrupt, but I think Bernie Sanders has the same kind of aura about him, and he is also an old geezer who is very popular with the young.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that Corbyn might not necessarily end up being the leader. I think he's kind of founding this thing. They keep trying to say it's Corbyn's party, but they're going to have influence, aren't they? And I think there's other people potentially, we might be surprised. There might be more defections, we don't know yet. But be interesting anyway.
Well, it will, yeah. OK, good talking to you. Thanks, Mark. 0345 6060 973. Martin in Chelmsford says, I have it on good authority from a stable genius that the birds are going to be wiped out by the windmills. Does this mean that starling problems will be no more? Starling problems? Oh, you mean ganging up on you when you're trying to have a nice beverage by the lake in Hyde Park? Is that what you mean by starling problems? Apparently windmills kill a lot of birds, according to an expert.
I know a lot about wind.
It was pretty much the first thing he said when he touched down, and he made his way delicately down those steps because he's still frightened of stairs and ramps, by the way. And he just started banging on about windmills, didn't he? Because, specifically, there is a windmill farm off one of his golf courses in Scotland. And he thinks that will decrease the amount that he can charge people that go around one of his golf courses. I think that's it, isn't it? He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the view. And so he's trying to dictate to another country what their energy program should be. In much the same way as he's trying to dictate to Brazil what the consequence of trying to stage a coup should be to an ex-leader. And like he's trying to dictate to Europe what their policy should be towards immigration. And he thinks he's running the world. Primarily because nobody says no to him. At all. The press don't say no to him. like hardly at all. They capitulated and like fell in front of this bulldozer and begged his forgiveness pretty much the first day that he was in. Universities don't say no to him. There's practically no institution that actually stands up to the man. And other countries are falling over themselves because he is a mob boss.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of person that we're dealing with now. He's running the country like it's like he's a mafia don. And he will use America as a weapon against anybody who displeases him, who fails to show him respect. I can't do Marlon Brando now. I'd have to think about it for a bit. I can't just go straight into it. This text says, Nick, did you see Orange Jesus banging on about windmills again? Renewable green energy is a bad thing. This man is a plank. Says that anonymous texter. Yeah, good job you do maintain your anonymity. This text says, Physicians Associates study a 2-year postgrad intense academic and practical course, and it's really hard to get into. I used to think it was some 2-week diploma for those who don't fancy working at KFC anymore, but it actually is quite legit. Well, it's not as legit as a doctor who does significantly more training and has a lot more knowledge than anything that you just described. Don't care whether it's legit or not, it shouldn't be. I want to be seen by an actual real-life doctor. Is that asking too much?
Yes.
Apparently so. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you are on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973. I want to do what disasters people think are going to befall us next. Experts have spoken.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
And I can't stand him.
This text says, Physicians Associates... Oh, no, I've read that one already. Sue in Boreham Wood says, please talk about resident doctors in real hourly rates, not percents. They are on an average hourly rate of £18.62, rising to £22.74 if they get the 29%. Lots of people are on those levels of hourly rates, but at least the resident doctors are saving lives. Tube drivers' annual salaries generally range from $57,000 to $61,000 based on a 36-hour work week. This translates to an hourly rate of approximately £30 to £32. Some experienced drivers, or those working significant overtime, can earn over 70 grand annually. Support your doctors, says Sue in Boreham Wood. I couldn't agree more. And people will say, well, you can't compare yourself to tube drivers because they earn way too much. No. They don't. Tube drivers earning up to $61,000 a year is not a reason and which is significantly more than the average wage, is not a reason for tube drivers to earn less. It's a reason for everybody else to earn more. I mean, I ask you this. In the 1960s, the chief executive officer of a FTSE 100 company earned about 40 times the average wage of a person working in their company. 40. Now it's like 300 times the average wage in their company. So there's been a lot of wealth created, but it hasn't gone to the people that created the wealth. It's gone to the people at the very, very top, in the C-suites. Now, you can defend that all you like. And you can say, well, that's just the politics of envy, even bringing it up, communism, that is. But unless you are one of those people in the C-suites who's earning a 7-figure salary, then you are busy shooting yourself in the foot. Dave in Poole says, the pictures of Trump at Turnberry Golf Course today look like a factory assembly line for golf carts. I'm amazed. I would have thought that the Orange Man Baby wouldn't have been seen dead in a battery-powered vehicle. Yeah. Apart from that one. Again, I thought golf was supposed to be about exercise. I thought it was supposed to be, like a good walk ruined. But what's the point if you're taking a cart to your ball all the time? Just waddle about the place for a bit, Donny. I mean, it's not like you couldn't afford to lose a few pounds. No offence. Back up, Lancashire. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Nick.
Tony.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. I've listened to your show for a good while.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the first time I've got in touch with you, if that's okay.
Right, that is just fine. Welcome along.
Thank you. It's I'm going against the grain a little bit. I know you've been talking politics for the past half an hour or so, but this is more about nostalgia and memories, if that's okay by you, because when I tuned into you just after 10 o'clock, you mentioned something about the old gramophones.
The radiograms, yeah.
The radiograms, yeah. Well, can I just tell you that back in I'm 68 now, back in the 1960s when I was about 9-year-old, my grandma gave us an old radiogram that she never used for a while. And it was one of those that it absolutely dominated the corner of the room.
Oh, it's huge.
You lifted the lid. Yeah, it was huge. You lifted the lid, Nick, and on the left was this strange thing with a round turntable.
Yeah.
And then in the middle was where you kept all the old 78s.
Mm-hmm. Or she'd probably have a more modern album in there somewhere, probably by the Carpenters.
Well, were they going in the 50s? I don't think so.
No, maybe not. No.
But on the right-hand side was the radio tuner.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it all started my love of vinyl, because in the middle was about 20 78s, and they included Bing Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
Your mum and dad may have told you about him.
I know all about Bing Crosby. He did a duet with David Bowie, for crying out loud.
Rock and roll! Yeah.
Connie Francis? Any Connie Francis in there?
No Connie Francis, but Guy Mitchell, great American singer, and George Formby. And
when I'm cleaning windows, that guy.
Well, Mr. Who's a window cleaning out, but I remember playing these and being absolutely fascinated that you could put this black disc on the turntable.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. How is that possible? It's just a disc. It's got no sound in it. And you put a needle in it and you spin it around and it makes a noise. How?
I know. Just a couple of weeks ago, I've collect vinyl now, and my grandchildren came round and said, come and have a look at this. And I showed them, not the old gramophone record, but a 33. Something by, I don't know if you've heard of them, something by Pink Floyd. And
no? Who are they?
Well, they're quite a famous group. Are
they a beat combo?
No, they're actually called progressive rock.
Oh,
so I don't know if you know about that.
Hippies, right?
Yeah, absolute hippies. But I showed it them, and I tried to explain to them about the grooves on the album that allowed the needle to vibrate.
But the needle on the record and the drum beat goes like this. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And but the other thing was, with George Formby, I used to listen to that and laugh at it. But, of course, at the age of, 8 or 9, I didn't get the innuendo until later in life.
Yeah, in your endo, Tony.
Not quite. But, but absolutely... And the thing is, Nick, I think, like yourself, I know you love vinyl and you love good music, but what was great about it just created my fascination with vinyl, and I've been collecting ever since.
Collecting it ever since. If you could take just one record with you, your house was on fire, and you could only take one record, what would it be?
If it was a single, it would be No Regrets by the wonderful Scott Walker.
Oh. Right.
There we go.
Nice.
Absolutely classic production, singing. I'd die for a voice like Scott Walker. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
And in closing, Tony, I have a question for you.
Go on.
Does your chewing gum lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight?
That's a good one. We didn't have any of his. What was he called? The skiffle singer that you're talking about now.
I don't know, but I did say in closing, so...
right.
Time's up, but excellent work, that man. Thanks a lot, Tony. 0345 6060 973. Yes, kids, when you wanted to listen to the radio, you had to turn the gramophone on and then sit there and wait. And the light would come on behind the display to show you which frequency you were on. But the sound would follow some time after. And it used to be absolutely infuriating because I used to get up about an hour early when I was at school to listen to Kenny and Cash on the radio, Kenny Everett and Dave Cash. And it was so exciting. You put the radio on and you sit in front of this massive piece of furniture and you'd have to wait and wait and wait. You think, come on, there must be funny stuff happening. And yeah, you tell that to the kids today and they won't believe you. 0345 6060 973. Jimmy says, hi Nick, thousands of Scots out all day protesting Diaper Donny's golfing holiday. I think my favourite sign was, go home, ya big orange. Well, I can't say that. I can't say that. But good sign. I agree with the... with the emotion expressed on that sign, but I can't say it on the radio. Phil in Beckenham's, I'm surprised you didn't get arrested. Phil in Beckenham says, what's the difference between the James Last Orchestra and a cow? I can't say this either. The cow has horns in the front, and you'll have to guess the rest. I know that's going to be infuriating if you can't think what that joke is, but I'm not going to say it. I'm doing my best to be legal, decent, honest and true. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right, let's have Southampton. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Lonnie Donegan.
Yes.
Does your chewing gum lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight?
Lonnie Donegan, that's right.
Lonnie Donegan, I remember it well.
Well, I don't. I mean, it's all a bit too early for me. I mean...
Well, of course, I realise that.
Yeah.
You're just a boy.
Yeah, I feel... I do often feel, when do you grow up? Like, at what age do you feel grown up? Because I'm not even close so far.
I'm 78, and I think I grew up last week.
Did you? Finally, it caught up with you. 78 years old. Well done.
Last night, I was listening to you talking about a bit of nostalgia again. A couple of things. One is Fanny Craddock.
Mm.
Do you remember ever seeing her on the telly?
No, only in clips after the fact. Again, I was a bit too young, I think.
Sure. I get that. I was young myself at the time, and she used to come out. She was very posh, and she would come out with innuendos and double entendre and all this sort of thing. And behind her stood a guy in a suit.
Right, it was her husband.
An evening suit.
Right.
And that's Johnny, her husband.
Yeah.
You remember? Well, you must remember that, yeah. And she would come out with things, stop playing with my spatulas, Johnny. And when I was at my age, sat there listening to her, I thought, what is she going on about?
Way over your head, yeah. Quite right too.
Over my head. And that was one thing. And the other thing I wanted to say, we were talking about headlines in the press or something to that. Yeah. Now, obviously, I was very keen on politics when I was young, and I used to buy The Sun and study page 3. And I remember seeing a girl on there one day, obviously half closed and half not, and there's always a little caption at the side, and this is when Gorbachev was running Russia, and she had a Russian hat on, and there was a headline, Gord Leipzig, what a perestroikas. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Whoever used to come up with the headlines, particularly for the front page, was a genius. And I wonder if it was a room full of people, like in the same way that they script comedy shows in America. It'll be like 10 people sitting around a desk and they just spit-balling ideas like that.
Well, I just thought the person who thought that up was, I was really chuffed with that. I think I've got the cutout somewhere.
Yeah, I think in those days they used to, as soon as they think about something like that, some genius idea for the next day's paper, they'd all repair down the pub, and that would be all of the work they do that day. But times have changed.
Sure.
Yeah.
One other thing, before I go, the red kite.
Yeah.
My daughter lives down in Calne in Wiltshire. And I went down there 2 or 3 weeks ago and we took some stuff round to their tip. And the place is infested with the things.
Are they?
Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
They circle and circle and circle, and
Yes,
they barely seem to need to flap their wings at all. They're just on like rising warm air.
Yes.
And they're just so big. It's extraordinary.
They are a big bird. They are, I mean, when you look, quite frightening, really.
Yes.
Well,
if they decided to attack, we'd be screwed.
Yes, we would. Well, we're being screwed now by Sakir, so which is not a bad thing.
Well, it was... If you hadn't have said the bit on the end there, which is not a bad thing, then that would have meant something else. But I think you're straight into odd territory there. But thanks for that, Peter. 0345 6060 973. Gavin in Wadbridge says, the best Sun headline was after a tribunal which was hearing a complaint by a female police officer who was going to be sacked because she was in the armed response unit and started life as a man. Uh-oh, where's this going? No. I've just read ahead. No.
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
No, there is nothing funny about it. Jim in Hassocks says, I have been listening to my gramophone today. I bought a new bag of needles for it and a new rag to push underneath it to adjust the volume. It sounds great. While shopping, I also bought a black sheet and some gunpowder for my... While shopping, I also bought a black sheet and some gunpowder for for my camera. I had no idea that was coming. Hove. Hello, Brian.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, Brian.
I was just thinking about how brilliant it is when you listen to the radio and you listen to all these different voices and the images that you get in people's heads about who you think these people are. I find it really fascinating.
Well, that's the beauty of radio.
Isn't it? And then Sophie was talking about her voice being recognised, and I was thinking, I was in the 80s, I was in the ICA buying some tickets, and I heard a voice behind me, and I thought, I know that voice. It was so rich and really fascinating to listen to. And it turned out, when I turned round, it was Alec Guinness, Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi himself.
Huh.
And I was just fascinated.
He does have a mellifluous voice.
Oh, it was completely... I was so in awe, really. I just stopped talking, and I just had to watch him for a while. He was lovely. He was with his wife, and he was very elderly, but he still had that voice, which was so famous, and it was just fascinating, really.
What were you buying tickets for?
I think it was some comedian, some arty comedian, Sadowitz?
Oh, Jerry Sadowitz. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was him.
Right.
I wasn't quite sure what I was getting the tickets for.
I wouldn't call him arty at all. No, I wouldn't say he was.
A bit rude in those days.
Very, very, yes.
Was he?
Spectacularly
I don't remember any of
right.
that. The other thing was that somebody phoned up yesterday and talked about Donald Trump being a bit like the king in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Well, I phoned you up a few months ago, and I was talking about Donald Trump being Goldfinger. Well, Goldfinger was played by Gert Frobe.
Oh, yeah, the same guy.
Yeah, and Gert Frobe played the king in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Right, I see that now.
And I just thought, yeah, that's Mr. Trump, isn't it? So I thought that was kind of fascinating, and so you had a few people on your show, and it just brings memories. When people talk about certain subjects, and you go,
memories are made of this. Yeah.
They are indeed.
All right, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Brian. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Paul in Shoreham says people keep saying if there's a wealth tax, all the rich people will leave the country. But rich people aren't wealthy because they've got massive salaries. It's because they own assets. If you've got an office block or a football team, it's not like you can take that abroad. Correct amundo. And this text says, it's so annoying. The UK has the 6th largest GDP, gross domestic product, but only the 30th largest GDP per head, just before Slovenia. Can politicians please learn basic economics? And I looked that up. And it is, from the top, Monaco is number 1, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, then Bermuda. These are the these are just the tax exile countries. So no doubt they would have the highest GDP per head of population because the population has been swelled by people who've taken all their money there. Monaco, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Bermuda, Ireland. Yeah, thanks a lot, Ireland. You're not helping in that regard. Switzerland, Cayman Islands, Singapore, Iceland, Norway. Well, you know why Norway is so blooming rich is because they kept their oil. We gave ours away. How's that working out for us?
Oh, fabulous.
And then the US, then the Isle of Man, Macau. Interesting that the US is so high. I mean, that means not that the wealth is spread around, but that a few people have a staggering amount of wealth. I think it's something like 7 families have 50% of the wealth in the States. So it's something incredible like that. Then the Isle of Man, tax haven, Macau, Denmark, Channel Islands, Faroe Islands, Qatar, Netherlands, Australia, San Marino, Greenland, Austria, Sweden, Belgium, Israel, Hong Kong, Germany, and then us. The 18th largest GDP per head of population. So I don't know where that messenger got the 30th, but it's the 18th according to what I'm looking at. Still, it's not the 6th, is it? It does put it into perspective, and it does give an idea that we may be well off as a country, as we keep being told, but it does go against our lived experience. You think, well, that's nice, we're the 6th richest country in the world, but where's all the money? Nothing's falling on me, you think. And that's the reason why, it's because we have terrible wealth inequality. The people at the very, very top have got a staggering amount of money, and everybody else is searching their car ashtray for pennies. Let's see now, who's been waiting the longest? South Shields, hello, Joanne.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes,
Nick,
Joanne.
it's a vintage show tonight. It's like a warm mug of chocolate.
Oh, all cosy and snuggly.
It is. I have 2 recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the one is concerning Fanny Craddock. When my daughter-in-law from overseas visited, I wanted to show her something quintessentially British. So I said, you like to cook? Look at this woman, Fanny Craddock. Now, if anyone wants a real giggle, they can Google Fanny Craddock banana candle. It's one of her inventions.
Is it?
It really is. Yeah. And another thing is there was a brilliant play on BBC 4 called Fear of Fanny, and it was really good. Really good.
And it was about her? Just to be clear.
Yes, it is. It is. Do you know, I was accused of that by my art teacher because I really loved life drawing and painting. I was good at it, but I would never do the area, and they sort of pulled me aside and said, do you have a problem?
That's a little bit too much information there, Joanne.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go down that path.
Yeah.
I was still trying to be polite.
Okay.
And the other thing is, you know the guy who was on about coal mining?
Yes.
Well, I was thinking about our Welsh callers and the Welsh reporter that often phones in. Well, I was looking for things to watch on TV, and I thought I'll delve back in time to the Comic Strip Presents. And did you ever see a show they did called Strike?
No.
Right, well, Robbie Coltrane is the director. They have Alexis Sale as a writer, and he writes a play about the miners' strike. And then Americans come over, finance it, try to sort of jazz it up, and they have Al Pacino as Arthur Scargill.
Oh, right.
It's pretty good.
I do recall something like that. I'm not sure whether I saw it or not, but I do remember that Al Pacino was in it, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth watching. And one more thing is starlings. Please don't be down on them, because I have a starling in my garden, and it's a mimic. The European starling is known for mimicry.
Well, what does it mimic?
Other birds. Seagulls, robins, blue tits, or even sort of, it can do like car noises and everything. It's amazing, Nick. So please change your mind. Laura will put you straight. If she hears about this, the resident vet will change your mind, Nick.
I wonder why a bird would imitate another bird. I mean, what would be the point of that?
Show off. You've got the power of... well, yeah. If you want mating rights, then it's a skill that
yeah,
you
but
might not have.
it's going to attract the kind of bird it's not attracted to.
I haven't really thought this out, have I?
No. I don't think birds have thought it out. But, I mean, I suppose they know what they're doing.
They must, because there's plenty of them.
So many of them, yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Joanne. 0345 6060 973. I want to get into this. People were asked what disasters they predicted, and they did not hold back. So I'll get to that in a bit. Where am I now? This says, my takeaway from the presidential visit to Scotland will hopefully be Donny and King Nigel sharing a tartan picnic blanket, supping a lukewarm tea from a tartan thermos, somewhere near the 17th hole. Surely this will cement UK-USA relations. Well, that's just a beautiful picture you painted for us there. And Di says, Nick, courgette is the name for a small corgi. Ask Jeff from Merthyr. He laughs all the way to everywhere. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. What does that mean, Jeff? You laugh all the way to everywhere. Yeah, no, I don't know either.
Anyway, Nick, how are you doing, fella?
I'm great,
right,
mate, yes.
Well, the thing is, I was quite surprised in all your years of whatever you do.
Yeah, whatever this is, yeah.
Nobody seems to know you, you know.
No. Twice, well, I think twice. Only twice has it ever happened to me. And it was both times in a supermarket. Somebody said, are you that bloke on the radio? And I'm like, yeah.
Because I'm inundated over the goose. Everybody's coming from all over UK. Come to meet you.
Why is it called the Goose and Cuckoo? I mean, what has a goose got to do with a cuckoo?
I mentioned it to Nick Ferrari and he couldn't grasp it. He thought it was the duck and goose.
Well, that makes more sense because, you know, a duck and a goose would be all hugger-mugger in a farmyard setting, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But a goose and a cuckoo, when would they ever meet?
Yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, I refuse point blank to talk about birds with you.
Okay.
Because I have never come across the most confused person about birds than you,
Than
Nick.
me, right.
No, you are the most confused person I've ever come across.
Right, a bird brain, essentially.
Can I just ask you, how would you tell the difference between a buzzard and a red kite?
A buzzard and a red kite. Well, I think you'd have to be in America, wouldn't you, or India or somewhere to have a buzzard.
We've got buzzards. There are buzzards in the UK.
Really?
Yes. And they look exactly and as big as a red kite.
Well, what's the difference then? What's the difference between a buzzard and a red kite?
A red kite has got a forked tail.
I'm not going to get near enough to see its tail.
When it's flying in the air above your head, look for a forked tail.
Forked tail, right.
Okay.
And then...
That's a red kite.
And if it's... okay,
if it's got like a fan-shaped tail, it's a buzzard.
Right. But it doesn't really make any difference to me, does it? Because, I mean, neither of them are going to hunt me.
That's why I'm refusing to talk about birds.
Birds, because I don't know what I'm talking about. On this or any other subject, as a matter of fact, Jeff. Here, Jeff, I've just noticed that I'm past the news, but this isn't what you wanted to talk about, was it?
No.
Can I come back to you?
I want to talk about Jeremy Corbyn.
All right, well, I'll come back to you in just one moment.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Well, let's get back to it.
Let's get back to Jeff. Yes, Jeff.
Right, okay. Let's forget about Jeffrey Epstein's friend up in Scotland now, okay? Let's talk about Jeremy Corbyn. What effect's that going to have? And this fantastic figure being bandied about, 400,000 people being interested into signing up with Sultana and Corbyn. Now, the end result of all that, where's all this going? Well, if you could sort of imagine a course that this is going to take, it's only one effect, isn't it? It's going to split the vote on the left.
Yes.
And that will mean the Labour Party's in some sort of tailspin at the moment. It will allow some sort of reform, gain with seats and whatever, in the mad voting system.
It seems a possibility, yes.
Well, now behave, right?
Oh, no, I mean it. That does seem like a possibility, yes.
Yeah, and Corbyn. Okay, let's look at Corbyn. He was, shall we say, reluctant to endorse the European Union. He was reluctant to condemn Putin and his actions. He is a man of conviction, I wouldn't argue at all, and he has a certain amount of attraction to a voting public who wanted to trust somebody, straightforward.
Right.
Now, the end result is, Nick, that we are going to see a split vote. What in the craziness of our situation in the parliamentary voting system, you've got the Greens, you've got Liberal Democrats, you've got all the different factors going on here. When you split the left vote, which it will do, where will that leave any of us? It's even going to make it incredibly complicated in the first election that's coming up in Scotland and Wales next May.
But I understand all of this, but just because the result might not be to your taste, does that mean that people should not be given the option of voting with a new party of whatever stripe?
Well, you come back to proportional representation.
Right.
I'm a great believer in it, okay? And in it, you will never, ever get a big majority of any particular, or probably the party that you want to have a big majority will never see it, okay?
But if the vote does stick with if the left-leaning vote remains the same, then it's more likely than not that left-leaning parties in a proportional representation situation would coalesce to form a government, more so than right-wing parties, because the right-wing in this country has always been a minority vote. They keep winning all the time because the left has had their vote split between various different parties.
Yeah.
If you were a right-winger, then you only had the Tories, which is why the Tories kept winning all the time with less than 50% of the vote.
Right. And do you know when this 400,000 people have expressed their interest in joining Corbyn's party, how many of them are troublemakers, bad actors, who are coming in now to say, "Oh, great, get him up and going and off the ground," just for that effect.
Oh, you mean undercover right wingers from the what used to be known as the Conservative. You remember the Conservative Party, don't you?
I think I do.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah,
that is possible. Yes, that is possible.
they were the ones. They were the ones with that woman Truss, I think.
No, I don't really recall anybody of that name.
I'm not talking about birds anymore with you, all right?
Right, OK, I'll look forward to not talking to you about birds either. Thanks a lot, Jeff. 0345 6060 973. This text says, I'm a former music journalist and I was once at a music festival, and as the performance ended, I turned around and a massive man, bald but bearded, was towering over me, and he said quite slowly, I've been watching you. I said, I'm sorry, what? And was feeling rather freaked out. But it turned out that he'd been watching videos online of some of the videos that some of the interviews that I'd done. You're right, it is a bit weird when it happens. Well, when that happens, that sounded a bit weird. I've been watching you. That's strange. Julia in Lee says, I have fond memories of daytime telly when I was off school. Frequent bouts of tonsillitis meant that I got a legal education watching Crown Court. Does that count? Not sure. Let's see now. Brighton. Hello, Samantha.
Hello. Good afternoon, Nick.
Yes, Samantha.
Hello. I called to put forward an idea about Brexit in particular.
Okay.
So, we were told by political forces far and wide of all shapes, stripes and what have you that we should wait 10 years for another Brexit referendum. This 10-year period will come about on the 23rd of June next year. So I'm just putting forward the idea that maybe us as pro-Remain, any person of any sort of remotely pro-EU stripe, or even someone on the fence, maybe this day is the day to campaign for another referendum, as everyone well, not everyone, but I think all of the political parties that have at some point said, we must wait, we need a 10-year anniversary, we can't do it before, and varying reasons why. Some are complex, some I might not necessarily understand. But yeah, I think like that's our time, like where we can honestly say, we've waited, we've done what you asked. Now is our time. Can we have this referendum?
Yes. I think you'd have to be out of your mind to want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
What kind of a person will want a second referendum on Brexit?
We should have a second referendum.
I mean, if you really had to rack your brains, what kind of a stupid moron would say we should have a second referendum?
We should have a second referendum.
I agree with you, Samantha.
Yeah, and it's funny you play Nigel Farage, who's sort of very friends with the Orange Man, who you were mentioning about 20 minutes ago.
He'd like to be friends, but apparently the Orange Man has precious little time to actually meet Nigel Farage, even when they're in the same city.
I know, and he didn't let him sit at the front seat or even anywhere near the front seat at the inauguration. I mean, you call that friendship, right?
Not really. No. OK, well, you're giving us a lot to think about, Samantha. Appreciate it. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it, Nige. I totally believe you. Murray in Aberdeen says the Harry Enfield lass is Kathy Burke. You Burke. And I watched Idiocracy today, and I preferred Don't Look Up. Keep up the good work, says Murray. Yeah, well, Don't Look Up is a more intelligent film, and they spent more money on it, and so on. But I think both of them really speak about what is happening right now. And both of them are funny, and both of them are essentially what we're living through at this moment. Used to be comedies about the future, now documentaries about the present. Idiocracy and Don't Look Up. Somerset, hello, John.
Oh, hi, Nick, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, my God, I've got a whole page of notes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, since I've been waiting to get on.
Not that you're complaining or anything.
No, just whining and moaning.
Yeah, whinging and whining and moaning.
Stop whining.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I didn't say minging, I just said whinging.
Yeah, whinging, yeah.
But anyway, you asked about disasters that were not predicted, and then somebody rang up and talked about Fanny Craddock and her banana candle.
Yes. I'm deciding not to look that up on the internet. That's something I don't want to put into Google.
Also, never look up, medical conditions.
No, because you will have them, whatever it is. You will convince yourself that whatever is the list of symptoms, it does fit whatever it is that you're looking at.
I think you're right, but I don't have any of these conditions. But Donald Trump has a medical condition.
Well, I would suggest that he has more than one, but go on.
Well, the one that they were diagnosing the other day, they were talking about it, wasn't it?
So we're not talking about his temperament.
But I have a strong temperament, and it's a very good temperament, and it's a very in-control temperament. I have a very strong temperament, but I have a temperament that's totally under control.
He has a temperament that's totally under control.
But let's face it, he's not a doctor.
No, well, even he would admit that.
I'm not a doctor.
No.
But they say that he might have something to do with, it's like varicose veins or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But then some of the doctor came forward and said it's varicose brains.
Wow, and you wrote that down?
I did.
And then you looked at it and thought, yep, nailed it.
No, but other than that, by the way, I wanted to come on and talk about various people like Farage, Tim Martin, Jack Nicholson, Robbie Williams.
Wow, what a list. Jack Nicholson, Robbie Williams, where did they fit in the above?
They're on the Epstein list.
Well, when you say list, you mean in his phone book?
Possibly, but in the end, I decided on Anne Widdecombe.
Yeah.
You normally do a funny voice.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I'm up to it, but go on.
I actually watched an interview with her the other day. I kid you not, it was a podcast. And it was like some YouTube thing called Heretics.
Yeah.
So some right-wing guy interviews her as though she's like sort of like, the oracle of, this, that and the other. And she talked about her political career, and then she said, well, then, when that was over, she said...
Yes, she said, that was terrible. Go on.
That's why I wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then she said, I went on Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah, don't do the voice. Go on.
Okay. And then she said, and after I'd done Strictly Come Dancing, I did 6 pantos.
6?
6. And I was thinking, what part could you possibly play?
Yeah, I mean, right, the ugly sister? I mean, no offence, but there would be a limited number of parts that somebody like Anne Widdecombe could play in a panto. Widow Twanky? Not really, because that would require some sort of acting skill. Does she have any?
Apparently she got rave reviews.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, excellent work there, John. Please don't ever do voices again. I appreciate your cooperation. This says, do you think that Jesse Corbyn is in the employ of Farage? His website sounds all well and good, but it will only result in a split of the leftish vote, and Nigel Farage will be able to waltz straight into number 10. Or you go into number 10 doing some other dance. Anybody want to see Nigel Farage dance?
No.
No. Even his fans are like, please, no, anything but that. Well, yes, that might be true, but is that a good reason to prevent a political party from giving birth to itself? Bernie in Kent says, Trump reminds me of a puppy who needs belly rubs and pats on his head while being told good boy and then given treats for good behaviour. Yeah, that's exactly who he is. Or he'll bite your face off. Don't forget that part.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
Aisha in Ilford says, hi Nick, a few weeks ago somebody mentioned a Yeehaw event and I don't think you got an answer, but it was a Beyonce concert for her country album in Tottenham Stadium. A Yeehaw event? I don't remember that conversation at all. Like that. a Beyonce concert for her country album in Tottenham Stadium, and all the right-wing media were trying to convince everybody that it was empty. Yeah, they were. And I didn't believe them. But they were trying to convince us that, Beyonce had gone too far and she was over the hill and, she's a giant loser because she tried to take on white man's music. I mean, they didn't say that, but that's what they meant. Stepping over her like she should know her place. That kind of thing. They didn't say it, but that's what they meant. Anyway, Aisha says all the right-wing media were trying to convince everybody that the stadium was empty because they didn't like a black woman making country music despite being from Texas. I went, she said, and it was one of the best nights of my life, and it was packed. I just thought you would like to know. Yes, I would like to know that. Beyonce, that album is terrific. This text says, Corbyn is an activist, really. His values are easy to say, but Starmer is better, in my opinion. OK, well, there's plenty of room for both of them. But the existence of one should not mean that the other one should not exist at all, just because the outcome might not be to your taste. I think more democracy, not less. Sam in Cambridge says, the thing I can't stand about Corbyn is he looks like he needs a good shower. I don't care that he's got no dress sense or that he looks dishevelled, but he doesn't look clean, says Sam in Cambridge. Well, I'm not sure that's fair. I think it's just because we associate a certain crumpledness and beard, of course, with a lack of personal hygiene. And that's how it maybe used to be, but it's not like that no more. I mean, hardly anybody shaves every day now. Everyone's got a beard of some sort. I don't think he has a problem in that department. I've never heard it said by anybody else. It's just his thing, that's his look, I suppose. He's an old geezer. What do you want? Old geezers hit a certain look and they just stick with it. It removes the necessity to think at the beginning of the day about what you're going to be dressed as. Just have a uniform. Cumbernauld, Andrew.
Oh, hello again, Nick. How are you tonight?
Yes, very well, thanks.
Don't you think that since the Corbyn's party is going to split the vote, it should be called People's Front of Judea?
Or the Judean People's Front?
Yes.
One of the two, yeah.
Yes. And the character that Kathy Burke played on the Harry Enfield show was Waynetta Slough.
Waynetta, yeah, that's right.
But the main thing I was going to say was, in the days of really television sets when they were first on the scene, the screen was about 4 inches across.
Yeah.
It took about 2 days to warm up.
That's right.
And there used to be, there was an enterprising company sold this sort of big magnifying sheet that you could park in front of the telly to make it look as if it was vaguely a decent-sized telly, so you weren't sitting 3 inches in front of the thing.
I know. I mean, talk about something that's so alien to the experience of the kids today. Yeah, that is incredible, but that is right. And it looked terrible as well.
Yeah. And there was also a reason why people would buy George Formby records at one point, because they were, a lot of the time, he was actually banned by the BBC.
Yeah, for being salacious and risque and lascivious. Yeah, all those good words.
The Window Cleaner song and his Stick a Blackpool Rock song were both banned by the BBC at one point.
Very rude.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just Frankie Goes to Hollywood, it was George Blooming Formby at one point.
That's right. It used to be the Sex Pistols, but before that, George Formby. That's right.
Yes. Just shows you how times change. And
Don't
one last thing about seagulls.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen online that local to me, one of our 2 big supermarkets, there was somebody had done their shopping in the supermarket and they were loading the shopping into the back of their car, and a seagull tried to attack them and make off with some of the shopping that they were loading into the back of their car.
Blimey.
Yes, so it's not just your chips that they'll try and nick if you're at the seaside. if you're loading your stuff into the back of your car after you've been to a supermarket, they're getting bolder all the time.
Well, it's happening. I've been predicting this for ages. I have been saying that at some point, an animal of some sort, I didn't know it was going to be seagulls, I thought maybe it would be foxes or even squirrels. They will realise that we, doughy, slow-moving humans, are not anything to be frightened of, and that they can pluck our food right out of our hands. And as soon as they realise that when we come out of the supermarket, waddling with bags laden, we are asking for it, and we will not put up a fight. We will run away, and they'll be able to help themselves.
Yes, to the pizza and the ice cream and the crisps and whatever. So it's they're going to learn the sort of seagull grapevine will soon.
That's right. Yeah. Parents will pass that knowledge down, and then we're for it. Yes.
Yes. So, anyway, thank you, Nick. It's always a pleasure to hear you.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Andrew. Thanks for the bad news. Being attacked by seagulls now. Yeah. When you're trying to put your shopping in the boot of your car. I mean, it's one thing if you're just waving it around by the seaside, ice cream. You just are asking for it then, aren't you? But if you're not waving food around when you're transporting it from the supermarket into your car. It's in a bag. So the seagulls must have figured out what's in our bags. This will not end well for the seagulls. Because what we lack in the ability to put up a fight in the moment, we make up for by being able to go away for a while and think about it. And then we'll come back and execute every last one of them. That's our thing, isn't it? I mean, one bear, for instance, or lion could take us out. That's right. But if, as we humans, decide that we are in danger of something bigger than us picking us off, well, we won't stand for that. And that's why we're number one. I mean, there's nothing that wanders around our country that could take us out, is there? And it's not a coincidence. It's because we have determined that only a certain type of animal is allowed to live here. Pretty awful, really, when you think about it. Because there used to be no end of things that would, cause you an issue when you're trying to get from Tesco's to your car. But we've taken care of them, and now they've learned their lesson. We've been very clear about our position on being attacked. We will run away, but not for long. And when we come back, then the worm will turn. 0345 6060 973. Will says if Sama wants to appeal to the British public, he should sleep in his clothes, run through a hedge first thing in the morning, quote obscure Greek references, say about 5 times in every sentence, and sleep around a lot and never tell the truth. Who's he talking about, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Can't comment on that. No. He'd like to, but he can't. He's too busy following the rules.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He followed the ministerial guidance at all times. It's a fact. And you'd have to be some sort of...
A great big greedy nincompoop.
A great big greedy nincompoop to think otherwise. Right, well, charge into the news and then back out again.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and...
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
like him. He's a good man. He is not a racist. I can tell you that. He's a good person.
Thanks, Donny. You're the best. Paul in Manchester says 20p Corbyn's party will be called the 99%. I like my winnings in small change and left in a leather pouch behind Spa. I'll keep that in mind. This says, hi, Nick. With Mar-a-Lago in... Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to have to write that down. Mar-a-Lago, Donny.
Don't be rude.
Mar-a-Lago in Scotland and Deputy Dingaling about to travel to the Cotswolds. They are in danger of spending more time in the UK than Nigel Farage. Ain't that right, Nige?
Please don't vote for me. Thank you.
OK, no problem. Mary says, believe it or not, I was only looking up the Farmhouse Kitchen just the other day, and I too can remember the theme tune. Happy days of feigning illness to stay off school. Oh, and why do you call Graham Kerr Graham Kerr? Isn't that his name? But she spelt K-E-R-R. Why do you call Graham K-E-R-R? Graham C-A-R-E. Is that not how you pronounce Kerr? Kerr. Graham Kerr. Is it Graham Kerr? It's too late to change now. I've been calling him that for 50 years. I mean, not that I've been mentioning him much in 50 years, but, I decided early on that's what he was called, and I'm sticking to it. Upper Edmonton. Hello, Layla.
Hi. So two things. The first thing is I think these Trump protests are just stupid. So I'm going to list my reasons why I think it's stupid. First of all, the police have got better things to do than police protests. There's actual
the police would be there anyway.
Yeah, but the police have got better things to do than be policing a protest.
Yeah, but the police would be there The police would be there anyway.
Yeah, but the amount of police that is needed to police all these protests is going to be more than the amount of police.
Right.
And then,
but the police would be there anyway. But anyway, go on.
But not in the amount of numbers.
Yeah, they would.
Secondly, I just feel okay, he's not our president, so he's not our problem. Number three...
Well, he is our problem. He is absolutely our problem.
Not to the same extent that he's a problem of the American people.
He's a problem with the American people, but that's the American people's lookout. But our problem is that he is a problem for us, and that's our lookout.
Okay,
I mean, the first thing that he did when he landed was tell us how we should organise our immigration policies and how we should organise our power infrastructure. That was the first thing he did when he landed.
Yeah, but that's all bluster and show and bravado.
Until he says, if you don't do what I say, I will tariff all of your goods, which he has done.
Exactly. So that moves on to my third point. So my third point is, we should be kissing his ass so we don't get tariffs on our goods, so people working in car factories and steel factories don't get the bad end of a stick.
Right. So you are now arguing against yourself. So he is a problem for us.
He is, which is why we should kiss his ass so we don't end up with tariffs on our steel and our aluminium and our cars.
Why do you think that somebody from another country should dictate the policy of this country?
Yeah, they shouldn't in an ideal world, but it's not an ideal world. It is what it is,
And so is that not something to protest about?
No, I don't think so.
Really? Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Layla. You've given that a lot of thought. Christiane in Buckinghamshire says, they do kill. What do? I was looking out off my and thinking, what a lovely bird. I was looking out off my OFF window? OF? I'll try it like that. They do kill. I was looking out of my window and thinking, what a lovely bird. And then a kite swooped down and took it away, feathers flying everywhere, like watching a murder. Right. Well, there's a lot of information in there, Christiane, that you did not put in. Like, what bird were you looking at, for instance? And was it the window you were looking out of? Or were you looking off? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I know, nature, eh? I saw a pigeon hawk. Is that what they're called? And it had got a pigeon in a back garden, and it proceeded to rip it apart, and it was absolutely terrifying looking at it. Because normally that kind of thing you only see on, the David Attenborough show, and they don't show you very gruesome bit. I mean, they'll show you the chase, but not the gruesome parts. And I think they stopped doing that because they're selling the footage to America. And America has got this idea that nature is all Disneyfied and they don't like, blood and guts and gore, which is what most of nature actually is. I mean, I hate to break the news to you, but when we go to the supermarket, we're just taking the ick out of finding our food. Every other thing on Earth has got to eat something while it's living. But, this... is a pigeon hawk. There's a thing called a sparrowhawk. I'm not sure if there's a difference. But anyway, it got a pigeon. And for about half an hour, it was out there just ripping this thing apart. It was quite disturbing. And after it had left, which took quite a long time, I went back out into the garden because, I thought maybe it's gone. I'm safe now. And went over to where it was doing its thing. And there was just like a couple of feathers left. It had eaten all of it. Alarming. 0345 6060 973. Speaking of which, here is a call about Jurassic Park in Somerset. Laura.
Hi, Nick. You okay? Everything fun?
Yes, good, thanks.
I was going to, when I was waiting to speak to you, I was going to ask you, did you need a cold shower? You're very risque this evening, aren't you?
Am I?
Oh, yes, lots of innuendos flying about the place, and then, a pigeon getting discombobulated.
Yeah, dismembered, yeah.
From one member to another, yes. I saw Jurassic World the other day.
Oh, yeah. Any good?
Well, I went for Wanstead. I mean, I haven't been to the cinema in ages, but I went. And the film is just full of cliches. Like, I could have written it. But I kept getting angry at the fact that after, 4 or 5 movies, why are they still interacting with the dinosaurs? Like, surely they know by now it's not going to end well.
Run away. Have you not seen this film? Exactly, yeah.
I know. It's just, it was, the way I would describe it was it wasn't a good film, but it was fun to watch.
Right. Okay, well, that is what you want from a dinosaur film.
Yeah, I mean,
it's essentially it's essentially a fairground ride. Do you want to go on this ride again? And because the last time was enjoyable, and the one before that was enjoyable, and it's going to be the same thing. Do you want to travel on this roller coaster again? And the answer is, yeah, sure, why not?
And I honestly, when I was watching it, said to my friend I was with, I said, I tell you, I bet this one's gonna die, that one's gonna die.
Don't
and then that
tell us.
I said that guy's gonna die right at the end, and I may or may not have been correct,
right.
but it was it was good.
If they're not good looking, they are almost certainly dinosaur food.
Oh, yeah, the most good-looking ones didn't get eaten.
No, of course not. No.
But I have detailed files. One moment, please. Oh, yes, I wanted to clarify something I said earlier. Did you say, and I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here, did you say, if you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone, and also, do you swing? And then it went to the break.
No.
Was that you? Did you say that?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, just double-checking.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to press the dump button on yourself.
On
I
myself,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was in reference to something that I was talking about just before. I can't remember what it was, but it was. I think it was. Wasn't it about someone's record collection? And I don't know. It was of the moment, Laura, and you bring it up 2 hours later. It don't make no sense.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
Right, yeah.
Well, I was in my car at the time, and I felt violated because the speakers are quite good in my car. And I thought, did he just say what I thought he said?
Yeah. And you pay attention to the road. Keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. Goodness me.
I was too busy. I verbally said, "Oh, matron," and almost swooned in my car, Nick.
Yeah,
and
well,
you'll be getting...
from this moment on, Laura, I want you to take your car keys and drop them down a drain and take a bus from now on, all right?
A bus? With
with
other
other
human
people.
beings.
Yeah. Try it. You might like it.
Well, I wanted to also double check. Do you like birds? Because I feel like we always talk about birds on your show now, and I thought no one's ever asked you, are you okay with it?
Am I okay with birds? Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not pecking my eyes out. Yeah, of course I like birds. You see a robin bouncing around your garden, that's lovely.
Well, I actually, when I was on an unnamed quiz show, I did mention birds of prey as what I would spend my money on if I won any money on the show.
You would spend your money on birds of prey? What does that mean?
I wanted at a point in my life to have a pet, not a pet buzzard, but like to train buzzards, like the injured ones that can't. They are magnificent, and they make the most beautiful sounds.
Oh,
yeah, you
no,
know.
I don't think they do.
They do.
No,
but
I
the
don't
funny
think so.
thing is,
How do they sound?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
They go like. Ah!
Yeah, that's not a lovely sound. That's a horrible sound.
It's beautiful.
No.
And the funniest thing about them is, and I highly recommend, not homework, but you know, when you go to bed or whatever, you can, and you'll never be on your phone. You look at pictures and videos of them from the side, where they look like, you know, like golden eagles. They look incredible. And then you look at them from pictures from the front, their face.
Hideous.
They look No, they look shocked. They look like they've just, you know, heard you talk about swinging on the radio.
Yeah, they probably caught a glance of their own reflection. Yeah, awful.
But they're gorgeous, you know. And so, yeah, but I have changed my mind since my stint on this quiz show. I have changed my view, and I think.
All right, okay. I'll bite. I give in. Which quiz show?
Well, sorry, I've got to go now, so I'll have to leave you guessing.
Okay. All right. She set us up and then refused to go through with it. You believe that?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, whatever.
0345 6060 973. The last caller made a great point, says this, a messenger. What's better for the environment, burning coal that came 1,000 miles away or burning coal that came 40 miles away? Well, burning no coal at all. Let's try and get ourselves off coal would be a better idea. I mean, and that caller was about 3 hours ago. Well, I guess it's only a 3-hour show, so that's not possible. About at least 2.5 hours ago. Am I really only catching up to the messages that have come in 2.5 hours ago? I'm not very good at my job. No, Nick. You're trying very hard. Why on earth would you put yourself down like that? Oh, my God, can I get a bit of help here, please? Let's have a call in Aberdeen. Hello, David.
Hi, Nick.
David.
I haven't spoken to you for a while, so I thought I'd give you an update on events.
Excellent.
So, last weekend was the Tall Ships visiting, and it was the biggest event in Aberdeen for about 30 years, 500,000 people visiting.
Wow.
What
was the event?
The Tall Ships race.
Oh, it's an actual race. Okay.
A race of tall ships, yeah.
Wow.
And it came in 1997, so it was a big deal for the city. So everyone turned out for that, and then it culminated.
I bet that was
with
some sight. Tall ships racing. Blimey, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Got to go on all these old ships like Omani vessels, Polish vessels.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. But then on the Monday, it culminated with a Red Arrows display, which the whole town turned out for. It was on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had an RAF announcer telling what was going to happen. You heard them roaring in, and then the whole crowd erupted with laughter as you just saw the Red Arrows streak between a couple of clouds and then turn the clouds red, white and blue with the smoke.
It just disappeared.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was Aberdeen style Red Arrow show. Because you said about Glasgow always raining. Well, Aberdeen's always cloudy, so that was our version of that. But that's just been completely upstaged by this weekend's events, hasn't it?
And how's that going for the locals?
Well, obviously we've got such an affinity with our dear Donny, haven't we? That we decided to put a sign for him, a welcome sign. I don't know if you'd seen that.
Well, can you tell it to me?
I can tell it to you, yeah. So at his golf course We put up a twin. I didn't do this, by the way.
Oh, twinned with Epstein Island.
With Epstein Island,
Right,
yeah, was that one.
Because
And,
the right-wing press are trying to tell us that the reception for Donald Trump in Scotland has been marvellous. Fans have been turning out to whoop and cheer. That's the story that they're telling us. Is that actually what happened?
I think it's more jeering than cheering, isn't
Right,
it?
that was what I would have expected. Yeah.
And if that's true, why did they need to invent a new armoured vehicle for him? Have you seen that?
I thought it was the same, they call it the Beast. I thought it was the same thing that he'd ordinarily ride in, didn't it?
Yeah, he's got his Beast, but then when he goes golfing, he's got an armoured golf cart now. Think Pope-mobile on steroids.
Right.
There's pictures online, but I know that's homework for you.
And this entire thing is him just running away from the expanding Epstein scandal in America, isn't it? He's not here for business. He's here to play golf, plug his courses, and to run away.
Yeah. I'm afraid I had to admit that I missed the first part of your show because I was busy watching the South Park episodes.
Oh. Is that on TV here now, or did you watch it online?
You can get it on Sky and Paramount, I think, or Now TV. You get it on there as well. Yeah, well worth a watch.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm surprised that it's here this quick. But I suppose, things used to be 6 months later after they got shown in America, but now it's almost instantaneous, isn't it?
Almost instant, yeah. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think things are gonna work out too well for Ghislaine Maxwell if she gets a release. Do you?
I think she'll probably live a quiet life, happily ever after, as long as she says the right things.
Really? I think it could be a short life.
Well, yeah. Well, I think if it was going to be a short life, it would be over by now. If it was going to be,
yeah.
If I get what you're saying, then I think it would have been done by now. But yeah, I think that she'll just name a few names, forget all of the other ones, and then be pardoned. Betcha. Exactly. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, David. 0345 6060 973. Cheryl in Uckfield says, loads of kites where I grew up in Oxfordshire, but I nearly had a collision with one down here in Sussex yesterday. It swooped down to scoop up some carrion and only just got out of the way. They are definitely expanding their territory. Yeah, well, it's down the Thames corridor is where I know them from, down to, towards Reading, near Berkshire. Near Reading, in Berkshire. And they really are such an incredible sight. I mean, it does look like something out of a dinosaur movie. They're just so big. And you don't expect anything to be that big here. Like if you were in, the Badlands in America, somewhere like that, then, yeah, seeing something that's as big as a plane circling above you you'd expect it, but not here. I wonder how did somebody reintroduce them? Or did they escape from somebody's collection, or how? Cheryl in Uckfield. Oh, no, I've just read that. Paul in West Wales says, red kites are no relation to carrion crows or any of the crow family. They are birds of prey. Raptors, you're welcome. Well, that's your dinosaur right there, isn't it? They are living among us. Nothing to be worried about. Let's see. Rochester. Hello, Lulu.
Hello, Nick.
Lulu.
So your glamorous assistant is so young, it's heartbreaking.
How do you know?
Well, he has no frame of reference. So I wanted to talk to you. So I wanted to talk about two things. I've got the best headline ever. You were talking about headlines the other night, weren't you? And he said, I don't know. Oh, that's a bit risque. But your caller a couple of 3 calls ago she used the ARSE word twice.
What?
And the word I'm going to use is not remotely as offensive as that.
Okay.
So anyway, so he was giving me the swerve on that. And then I was asking him, was he familiar with the works of Basement Jacks?
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
What?
Never heard of them.
He'd never heard of Basement Jack. That's not history, that's the present tense.
Yeah, and so I even offered to sing Red Alert to him, and he said, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
He'd obviously heard me sing before.
Yeah, no, it's fine, Lulu.
Yeah. So, no, first thing, right, so the headline was, Jarvis Cocker in the 90s did a charity football match, and some woman took all her clothes off and ran onto the pitch, and the headline was, Jarvis Soccer Knocker Shocker. That's really good, isn't it?
That is pretty good.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I've been to see Basement Jacks this evening at Dreamland.
Really?
Oh, they're fabulous. They were fabulous. But, you know, I want to talk to you about crowd etiquette. So you're standing there.
Oh, you're going to talk to me about phones, aren't you?
No. I'm stood there with drink in one hand and just getting on down, you know, jigging away.
Yeah.
Why is it people can't stay in one position? They have to squeeze in front of you constantly. You know, unless you're plastered up to the back of some person in front of you, people will try and win their way between you.
They want to get up the front.
Why can't people just stay where they are? Why do they keep moving around? You know, it's absolutely infuriating.
Now, how far away were you from the stage?
Oh, quite. I was really right at the back.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because if you are up the front, then you've got to put up with a bit of jostling, I think.
Exactly right. Yeah. You know, so I was like miffed because I'm at the back and I've got a bigger sort of area around me, but I had to eventually just press myself up to the back of some random in front of me to stop people from just... And I was even at the bar, and there was some guy in front of me, and we were in quite close proximity, and people were just coming between us. And I said to him, look, have I got a sign on my forehead saying, can I just squeeze through? Because that's what I'm saying, can I just squeeze through?
Yeah.
It's infuriating.
Because you will get in a position where you can see between people's heads... And you think, this will do. I mean, I could get nearer, but then there'll be, be a lot of effort, and I'll spill my drink, and it'll just be a nightmare. So I'll just stay here, and I can see perfectly between these two people's heads, as long as they don't, jig around too much. And then somebody comes and stands immediately in front of you and ruins it.
Why do people not just find their space, stay there? I mean, it's only an hour and a half. Just stay where you are. Why do you have to keep moving around?
Why can't people just be happy where they are?
I felt a bit murderous towards the end of the night, I've got to be honest. I was willing to do violence to certain people who were squeezing in front of me. It was just like really annoying.
Well, that's perfect. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to think, Lulu, but not to actually do. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't carry out. Now, finally, Nick, have you done Shifty yet?
Have I done what?
Shifty.
What's
Adam
that?
Curtis. Adam Curtis. It's your homework.
No, I keep forgetting it.
I
keep forgetting. I tell you why I forget it. It's because I haven't taped it because it wasn't on TV. They put it straight to. They put it straight to the.
iPlayer.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I keep forgetting that it's on. Is because I haven't taped it.
You know, having watched that, I've got to say, I mean, I've always not been a fan of Thatcher, but I really feel she was deranged, that woman, because she was carrying out all these devastating policies that destroyed this country back in the 80s.
Horrible.
And actually,
we're still recovering.
I know she is the cause of all our ills. But anyway, all her cabinet was saying to her, Margaret, please think again. Please stop doing what you're doing. She would not do. She would not stop doing what she was doing.
I think consequentially the worst prime minister this country's ever had. And that people still revere her and worship her as some kind of hero is just, it's just sick.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. It's so wrong. She really, really destroyed this country, and we're feeling the ramifications of that now.
Well, we'll be feeling them forever. Yeah. I mean, all of the stuff that we used to have as ours got flogged off to mates and colleagues in much the same way as, They were doing during the last crisis. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Lulu. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Craig says, do you think Nigel Farage will be meeting his hero while he's in Scotland? I don't think Trump would recognise Farage if he was the only person in a room wearing a name badge saying, hello, my name is Nigel Farage. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a love affair that only goes one way. Yeah. This says, the problem with Corbyn is UK demographics. Places like Devon and Cornwall will never vote for somebody that's portrayed as a hippie, despite their shared opinions of jam. What? Jam? What's jam got to do with it? Are you talking about scones? And don't even get me started on scones, because it's scones. And the jam should go first, and then the cream second. Of course it should. Any fool know that. Because the cream is lighter than the jam, and you can't have something that's lighter at the bottom with something heavier wobbling on the top of it. That's just insane. But maybe that's not what you mean. Where else? Robin Churchley says, HS2 spent £100 million on a tunnel to avoid disturbing bats. But wind turbines, which the government are going to cover England with, are notorious for killing a huge amount of bats, never mind killing pollinators and insects, which will decimate crop growing. Okay, wind turbines don't kill insects. Do me a favour. And I seriously doubt that they kill bats, because bats can swerve around and turn in the air on a sixpence. Bats are so agile, they can snatch mosquitoes out of the air. Which they do in large numbers, apparently. I can't remember exactly what the precise numbers are, so I'm going to make them up. Did you know that a bat can eat 1,000 mosquitoes in an evening? Yeah, I've got no idea whether that's true or not, but, they can eat a lot. And, what the world needs now is fewer mosquitoes. I actually haven't been bitten in ages. They normally see me and call their mates. Something really tasty over here. But, I don't know, so maybe bats have been doing their work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 034, if only they didn't look so bloomin' ugly. Never mind, eh?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
Susan says, the problem is, this is all in one sentence, no punctuation of any kind whatsoever. Or apart from one comma, which has just been thrown in there as though by random, sort of like randomly, as though she just found it. Oh, I'll just chuck it in there somewhere. The rest is punctuation free. So here we go. Big breath. The problem is you go into studying to be a doctor, you know what it is that you have to pay for, exams for, whatever, but it seems to be all they're interested in nowadays is money, not patients. They should look at it more as doctors, nurses is a vocation. If you do not in it for trying to save lives and looking after people, and your only interest is how big your house you can get in much the next new car, then become an accountant or a lawyer or Oracle servant. How come we don't hear if any other EU country where doctors and nurses are continuously striking? Shall I read it again?
No.
No. But I'll sum it up for you. What are you talking about, Susan? I think you need to see a doctor. Or a physician's assistant, or just somebody. Maybe ask your gardener if he has a suggestion. Mick says, Nick, my mum and dad decided to keep up with the times and brought a radiogram, and the only one we had for about 6 months was Winifred Atwell. It wasn't until she came to play live at the town hall we realised we'd been playing the record at the wrong speed. Leela in Edmonton says, some of us are 28 and don't want to hear about gramophone nostalgia. Well, you could turn the gramophone off, Leela. God, she thinks she's got a remote control. Shannon, David.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
It's great. I'm delighted to make my debut on your programme. It's a real privilege.
Ah, welcome along.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I've heard you do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's great. What I was going to actually talk about was a couple of things, but before I get to that, I was just hearing, I'm not really into birds, but I've just been hearing all this stuff about birds whilst I've been on hold, so I decided to Google ridiculous bird names.
Yes.
And one that came up was the red-rumped bush tyrant. So there you go.
I would like
That's
to meet
actually a real bird.
I'd like to meet that bird.
Well, that's a real bird, so there you go. The other thing that popped up whilst I was listening was you were talking about, with one caller from Cumbernauld, about old school TV and things like that, and it just took me back to a time where I used to shove a coat hanger into my 1977 Ford Fiesta to get a radio signal.
Yeah, people used to go around with coat hangers sticking out their cars, that's right.
That's right, yeah. So that just kind of brought back a happy memory. I know that you have a problem with listeners with material, but I did actually find when I was on, just when I called up, that you have an assistant with material, by the way. You do know that, don't you?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It is true. Just a couple of tracks that came up whilst you were talking about old gramophones and music and stuff. I remember my parents having a sing-along, a Max album.
Max Bygraves.
Correct. And the other one that brings back some not less than happy memories was the Top of the Pops album, which featured not original artists.
Yes.
Conveniently.
That was back in the day before you were allowed to put a compilation out of other people's material in, like like these days they've got those now that's what I call pop music number 150 or whatever they're up to now.
Yeah.
But it used to be
I think
that...
the bonus is at least you get the real artists on those ones, whereas
of course.
Back in the day...
It was terrible. I mean, it just shocking. Because you'd listen to, Top of the Pops and it would be Nazareth and The Sweet and good stuff like that. And then you'd want that, but you didn't want to go and buy 10 different singles, so you get a Top of the Pops album. And then you take it home and you'd put the needle on the record and the drum beat started up, and you think, hang on a minute, it sounds a bit like it, but it's not it.
Yeah, it was ultimately quite disappointing.
Shocking.
The point that I really wanted to call you about was about Tsar Donald of Trumpingrad.
Yeah.
I understand that he has a vein issue, which I was reading about. When I first read it, I thought, well, you didn't need an expensive doctor to be able to diagnose that. You just have to watch him on the TV.
Yeah,
until I realised that it was actually his veins.
VAIN, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly ridiculous. The final couple of points, if you don't mind. You talked about nightmares incoming. I think you were talking about nightmare scenarios coming around the corner.
Oh, you know what? I still haven't got around to it, but I have detailed files, but it's just one of those things that I prepare and then have to throw away because all these calls and people, they just keep calling me.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But I do have a consistent nightmare that I have, if I can share it with you.
Yes.
I have this nightmare that Hairspray the musical is going to be rebooted in 2025, featuring Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, and a special guest appearance by Michael Fabricant.
Yeah, none of the above actually wear a toupee.
I don't wear a toupee.
Especially him.
It's been a pleasure calling you, Nick.
All right.
Thank you very much for all the fun.
Thanks a lot, David. 0345 6060 973. Georgie says, Nick, regarding Beyonce, my daughter, who is young and hip, which is almost certainly not how they would describe themselves. My daughter, who is young and hip, tells me that the theme of Beyonce's next album will be revealed tonight. Her money is on a rock album. Don't quote me on this, says Georgie. Really? Well, then tonight would have been over already. I bet my glamorous assistant wants to look that up straight away, if not sooner. A rock album. Well, that's going to really upset you-know-who. The Dinglings. They'll be beside themselves. Jackie says, yes, the red kite has a forked tail, and the orange trump has a forked tongue.
Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
This says, I've just watched a YouTube video that shows how it's actually a noise on the end of that. Is that somebody pulling a chair across the floor, or is it something else?
Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
I think Donnie lost control for a moment there. Your husband is finding it difficult to maintain control, Melania.
I don't care.
She's actually not that bothered. She's in a different country at the moment. What does she care? Jim in Hassocks says the reason that old radiograms took so long to produce sound was that they used vacuum tubes for amplification and rectification of current, whatever that means. The tubes have heater elements in them akin to such as an electric fire, which takes a while to glow hot enough for them to conduct electric current from the cathode to the anode. Your show is an education, isn't it? Says Jim. Yeah, let me think about that, Jim. No.
In the echoes of thunder's might, illusions dance in electric light, a symphony of chaos spun in realms where realities run. Thunder crashes, worlds collide, and circuits where illusions abide. Visions flicker, virtual, and tempest of senses they conceal. Thunderous illusions, relentless storm. In the labyrinth where dreams transform, a symphony of electric dreams in the pulse of digital streams.
This says, I've just watched a YouTube video that shows how a Starling can store computer data like the old games on a cassette or the sound of a modem, all due to how well it can mimic what it hears. It can store computer data. A Starling can store computer data. What, you could use it as a USB chip? Download a few movies and then stick it in your computer, just jam its beak into one of them USB slots. That makes perfect sense. Oldbury. Hello, Ranjit.
Hiya, mate. You okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
I've got to apologise for last night. I did ring in, but, your glamorous assistant, Aaron, yeah?
Yeah.
He's got a toximeter to see how intoxicated I am. I've been to a party last night. And I asked him, I said, listen, I've been to a party, what you reckon? He says, listen, Ranjit, call back tomorrow and get your head down.
Call back tomorrow and maybe it'll worn off. Booze? Yes.
Well, I'm having a couple of beers now.
Oh, no.
No, I'm okay. I won't use no builder's language.
All right, then.
And this week I had 3 visitors, right? On Thursday, Ruth from Devon and Fiona from the Isle of Man come to visit me because they're your number one fans, right, from the Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
And today I had a young lad called Tavish from London come to visit me with his dad and his sister and his brother. And they says, can I give him a check-in? So I've done it, right? Okay, well done, guys.
Did they actually go all the way to where you are just to sample your wares?
Yes, sir, they did, yes, and I'm really humbled. I am. You know what? People love you. I received a T-shirt in the post, right, which said, I'm your number one caller, that people like, and a mug, yeah. I've sent a picture to your glamorous assistant to have a look on
okay. Well,
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Definitely not going to...
You are becoming an idol now, right? You are the idol, and I'm going to be your manager, and I'm going to have like 99% of everything.
99. That sounds reasonable. 99% to you and 1% to me. Where do I sign?
You sign here because you have no cards, man. I'm talking about how Donald Trump deals, yeah? Okay, you're the main man, and you're going to be producing all the money, and 99% of your money you collect is going to be paid in expenses to Ranjit.
To you, that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, right. Now, regarding Donald Trump, hang on. So first of all, when people, all these dinglings turn around and say about the doctors, right, that they knew what they were doing when they signed up to study medicine, okay? First of all, any of these people, give them my number, I'll speak to them, I'll ask them, say, listen, what's your highest qualification you've got? Right? And I bet you they probably say, well, I did have a spirit level at one time, but I've lost my certificate, yeah? Okay? The thing is...
Cycling proficiency test in my case.
That's it. The thing is, Nick, on a serious note, yeah, what's happened is the minimum wage has caught up with semi-skilled wage, and the gap between like unskilled labour wage is virtually caught up with the doctor. Like people are saying, they're on £19 an hour as a junior doctor, right? So somebody stacking shelves is on £18 without any education.
Well,
that's where
maybe not 18, maybe like 12, but it's it's not far out.
Yeah, but if you look at it, right, there should be a ratio of very skilled people, semi-skilled people, and unskilled people like myself.
I think to know where it should be, we just have to look at where our nearest competitors are on the pay scale of doctors. Now, pretty much every other country in Europe, in Western Europe, have more doctors, more nurses, better hospitals, better ratio of beds to patients, and etc. and so on. And their hospitals are cleaner, and they're newer, and they're brighter, and they're shinier, and the medical professionals work less than they do here. Now, if we can't, if we're told, persuaded that we can't tax rich people because they'll leave, then we should treat doctors better because they can certainly leave. They have skills that are in demand in every country on earth.
Well, you know this young kid Tavish. He spoke. His dad played me. He spoke to Ben Kentish, a young lad. Yeah, he's only 13. And I explained to him. I said, "Listen, you can have all the wealth in the world that you can." And I said, "But you know your brain. No one can take it off you." Right, so these people, the brain drain is happening, isn't it? Yeah, the brain drain's happening because one day you might lose your business. And going on about, you've been speaking about how Keir Starmer is losing favour, right? Now, Donald Trump has come to this country on a holiday. He hasn't come on any kind of an official visit.
I know.
Yeah?
Well,
so why is Starmer running all the way up to Scotland, right, to kiss his ring?
Because he is who he is, and if you don't do that, he will use America as a weapon against you.
Well, okay, let's call his bluff. Use that weapon against me.
Unfortunately, we can't call his bluff because we extricated ourselves from our good friends in the European Union, and so we're bobbing around on the sea, Johnny No Mates, and we are dependent on these piddling little trade deals that we're trying to negotiate with other countries to try to make up some of the damage back, to try to mitigate the losses of the Brexit that was visited upon us by an oily charlatan.
Well, you know, like me and you on that list, right? If suddenly somebody comes to my shop on Monday morning with a big American accent, then, sounds like a dingling, and says, "I've come to meet you, Ranjit," I need to be careful, don't I?
You need to shut your shop and put a closed sign, "We'll be back in 3 months," on the door. Something like that. Turn the lights out and run away. That'd be my best advice. Thanks a lot, Ranjit. Gotta go.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Let's see now. Cornwall. Malcolm.
Good evening, Nick. How are you, sir?
Yes, I am very well, thanks.
I was inspired by Laura to pick up the phone and have a word with you, and very inspiring. It was about buzzards. Now, since then, well, in fact, in the last minute, I just looked up numbers of 3 very common British birds of prey: the kestrel, the buzzard, and the red kite. Now, the red kites, right? There's only 10,000 birds. Right?
Is that an only? That seems quite a lot.
Well, you waited for the other 2. So your kestrels, there are 31,000 breeding pairs, so 62,000 kestrels, right?
Wow.
And buzzards, wow, you listen to this. This is the biggie now, right? Buzzards, there are between 60 and 80,000 breeding pairs.
What?
So between 120 and 160,000 buzzards.
I don't think I've ever seen a buzzard. I'm not sure I've ever seen a kestrel either.
I know you venture out into the country occasionally, but they're everywhere. And Laura is spot on. They're beautiful birds. And if you live in amongst hills or valleys, right, you hear them, and that screech that Laura described, it isn't a screech, It's an amazing sound. It really echoes through valleys. Yeah, it's fantastic. But the red kites, like I've told you the story before. I'm from the area in Wales where it all began, and that's just south. It's so stupid. Just south of Mid Wales, right?
Yeah.
And that's where all started. But now they've spread, as you say, out of Wales into the Chilterns and heading now up towards London. But they're huge. So,
right, so that's interesting. Right, that is interesting because they may have come from Wales and then are going up the Thames Valley towards London. It hadn't occurred to me that they came from Wales, and that would be their natural progression.
Well, look, my hometown is, as I say, south of Mid Wales, but Mid Wales is where it started. 20, 30, 40 birds, and then pairs, and now they're everywhere. So my hometown, you look at it in the sky, and there'd be 3, 4, 5, 6 at any one time. And my mum was telling me the one time that she was sat out in a conservatory on the back of the house, and all of a sudden there was almost a mighty crash, and one of them actually flew into the side of the conservatory.
They do that. They do that a lot. Birds. I mean, they can't see glass. I mean, I suppose.
But my mother said this.
They're not expecting solid air.
Yeah. Well, my mother said this thing was absolutely massive, and it just managed to scrape itself up off the floor and just sat there for a while, composing itself before it just off it went.
Right.
And she said the wingspan, the size of it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it just composed itself for a while, thinking about what it was going to kill next.
But you think of those numbers. I mean, and the buzzards are obviously the most common, but they are big. Now, 3 or 4 days ago, I started cycling about 6 months ago again, and I was cycling up a hill to reach the top of the hill, turned a 90-degree corner, and there was a young one sat in the verge, and it was having a peck around up the ground. Then it hopped up onto a wall when it saw me. I cycled past, and then it flew down into the grass again. But all of a sudden, then up it got, and it flew round this corner, Nick. And on this piece of road, there's a bank which must be at least twice my height, right on the edge of the road. It's a vertical hedge each side, and this thing it really must have been no more than about a foot off the ground, just flying right down the road down this hill, and it was stunning. But they're fairly tame.
It sounds like it sounds like one of those things where you follow it and it's leading you into a trap.
No, maybe.
Because its parents are waiting for you around the corner, and it thinks, I'll just get him to follow me, and then we'll eat him.
Can I just briefly speak about golf here? Because I know you're very disparaging always about golf, right? But I'm not being disparaging here about the president. Clearly, I would never do that.
But
the president, when he arrived last night, I don't know whether you saw the interview he did, but golf was raised and his club in Scotland.
Well, that's why he's here, isn't it? To plug his golf course.
Something much bigger, the Open Championship.
Yeah, he wants that. He's desperate for that.
He's desperate to get, but the RNA are I don't know whether they're looking for reasons not to give it to him or whatever, but he said last night that they'd spent millions put in cables
and under the greens and all of that stuff. They spent millions and millions of pounds in order to make it possible for them to have the TV coverage for that, and none of that's true. He just made that up. Yeah.
But the thing is, look, the RNA, they're saying it's infrastructure, so that's roads and all the rest of it.
Yeah, they want railway stations and all of that, and other hotels for people to stay at, because this is a big money-making thing for them, the Royal and Ancient.
Well, the thing is, Nick, the Open has always had big crowds, but up to the last number of years, you had 100,000, 130,000, but they get crowds now. This one now in Ireland, something like 250,000 people over the 4, 5, 6 days.
And Trump's place is too far out of the way. People wouldn't be able to go there. I think they held some competition there a while ago, and only like 10,000 people showed up because it's just too remote.
Well,
for a guy who puts his ability to pick a location front and centre, he did a pretty bad job with that.
Well, that said, Nick, there is an event coming up next year at this Aberdeen course, and a European tour event. So
Right.
I don't think that the tours have anything against Trump in particular. Maybe it's the fact he's president, maybe.
Yeah, I
They
cannot
don't-
wait not to watch it.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I've got to go, but thanks for that. Let's see if I can squeeze one more in just before I go. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Nick. Hi.
Jan.
So, good evening.
Yes,
Morning. I thought I'd share some experience with you about the birds. And my garden, when I go in there, it's a bit like a Jurassic Park. It's like going into a Jurassic Park. But first, I saw it about
You
birds.
want to give it a bit of a mow, Jan?
No, look,
Tidy it up a bit.
No, I'll tell you why. Well, I'll talk about the Jurassic Park. It's like a mini Jurassic Park. It's just that I am tidying up, but I keep seeing these amazing-looking creatures out there. Not just frogs that I want to try to photograph them. Like this exquisite filigreed sort of insect. I don't know what it is, and every time I want to photograph some of these strange-looking things, like they're from some prehistoric Jurassic Park, but if you saw them in a large, if they were on a large scale, they would be quite scary. But they're very small. But each time I want to try and photograph them, they quickly fly away. Or if I want to photograph
Camera
the frog,
shy.
and if I want to photograph what is a frog, it suddenly changes colour, and I can't see it.
Jan, have you been eating wild mushrooms again, by any chance?
It's just that I go out there and it's always something to. I mean it's amazing.
Well, you do go out there. There's no doubt about that. And I'm afraid I can't help you with that, Jan. Whatever it is that you're seeing, I think you need to either take fewer or more pills. I'm not sure which is which, but I want you to think about it very strongly. Cheers, my dear, gotta go. 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 Cheers.